What's up, everybody? Welcome to CrowCast, episode 46. It's unbelievable. It's 46. Who would have thought it? We didn't. What a packed show we're going to have tonight for you. Full of announcements. We've got an incredible guest. Thank you, everybody, for joining us again. It's Tuesday. It's live at 9. It's CrowCast, baby.
It's CrowCast. Oh, man, what a week. And for anybody who didn't know, for people who tune into the CrowCast, we did a quiz on Saturday, which was quite eventful. Some incredible prizes. We did a CrowCast quiz. Great success, mate, wasn't it?
It was brilliant, man. I think a lot of people got it now because obviously it was the second one, the interactive thing, and I think everybody was a bit more sussed on it. Great laugh. I think it was 2 hours, was it, overall?
Some brilliant prizes, money off in the merch store, £75 voucher from the lovely guys at easyframe.co.uk. Brilliant that was, and £100 Amazon voucher as well.
Yes, well done, first, second, and third. We will do that again at some point, hopefully. But it was just nice to give back as we try to do often. And thank you so much for getting involved, everybody. It was brilliant.
Yeah, and on that note as well, I mean, while we're talking about the quiz, it's kind of cool to address the elephant in the room. There were some shenanigans during the show, and a few kind of hints to what we might be talking about tonight or what we might be actually releasing. But I can talk about it. Shall I just show them the video, mate?
This is the first announcement, people. Hey!
Yes.
The Crows have only got their own beer.
Good God. Good God. It was on our bucket list, very rock and roll. Few people seen us drinking it, didn't they, Shane?
They did. They did. We like it. We like the teas.
While I pour myself a beer, one of our own beers.
Yes.
Would you like to tell everybody a little bit about it?
Yes, I'd love to. So we've teamed up with Dog's Window Brewery, based in Bridgend, so it's a local business. But they're rated in the top 50 breweries in the UK by Untapped, and the second highest rated brewery in Wales. So this is Send the Reaper. Obviously, everyone that knows the band, our song is called Send the Reaper. See what we did there? We're so clever. And that stands for New England India Pale Ale. It's a juicy East Coast style IPA with notes of tangerine, stone fruit, and coconut. Unbelievable. It's brilliant. Oh, this is a lovely strong beer, 5.7%. The important part, where can you get this? Obviously there's going to be links going up in the comments there for everybody to see. If you're local, you get free delivery over £20 and free nationwide delivery over £40. If you sign up to the mailing list, you get 10% off your first order. Minimum case quantity for mail order is 6 beers. And if you're clever, if you order them now, we're thinking about doing a live virtual beer tasting next week. So if you get yours now with the links, but they look going across your screen, you can join us next week and taste how good this beer is. And I mean that because myself and Ron, we love our drink.
Yes.
But
yes.
We're not too sort of blown away with these sort of these flowery IPAs, these beers. But we had a big say in this. And the boys, they love their beer, the rest of the Crows. So between the five of us, we've all come up with this Perla. It's an absolute beauty. And I'm quite proud to say it's class. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Shane. I mean, for anybody who've been following us now, it's 46 weeks of doing CrowCast. And we've had a couple of funny episodes where we were having banters with the Crow family about like the taste of certain beers and how they can taste, you know, for me and you, they're just not great on the palate, do they? But this is something, I mean, it is hard at the moment, guys, you know, being in a band and you're trying to get things to go. This was something so exciting to make happen during a pandemic. We were able to do this with management and create our own beer. Very safe. It was weird. Obviously, everybody had to do social distancing, and we had to kind of do it on different days, and just to get it to where we needed it to go. But we're here. We're absolutely here. It's been the biggest secret. I've been dying to tell loads of people. There's probably friends watching this now, and they're like, "I can't believe you didn't tell me." It was just like hush hush because we didn't know whether we'd get it over the line.
Yeah.
And incredible, and I can't wait to talk about that with the boys later. But more importantly, Shane, it does taste great, and that's
It does. It does. And there's a lot of people here saying, "Oh, I don't like IPAs." I don't. I'm the first one to say I don't. I love my whiskey. I love the shorts, but this little beauty, honestly, it goes down a treat, and it is quite strong. Falling over juice, I've heard someone say.
yes.
It's a beauty. Fair play.
Well, yeah, we had a few. Obviously, we got past the prototype stage, which was brilliant with Lee from Dog's Window, and then obviously we had cans given to us for the quiz, and that's obviously the outcome was Dave drinking all of his cans, I think, or he definitely went through a few, and enjoyed them really well. But it was hard because we couldn't obviously tell everybody, could we? We couldn't say, look, because we just wanted to make sure everything was done right, and then obviously we could announce it tonight, and they are now live. And yeah, for anybody wanting to know the links, they are going along the bottom. The info's along the bottom. We'll talk about it again with the guys, but that's not the only news tonight.
We've got mega news coming up, but we're gonna do the announcement after our interview with a very special guest. But stay tuned, guys. It's big news.
Can we give them a little bit more, maybe? Just a little bit more. There's a lot of people on you now, and they're thinking, oh, maybe it's more merch or anything. It's so big news. Maybe it's new.
It's new music, everybody. It's new Crow music. We've been busting to get this out. This is what we do. This is our primary job. It's doing music. It's recording music. It's playing music. But we can't play as a band right now. But we've somehow managed to get in the studio before the madness really happened. And we've done this, and we can't wait to share it with you. So loads of information about that coming up. I can't wait to share it with you.
Yes, new beer now available, and we'll tell you all about the new music later. When the boys join us, we'll go into all of that. But should we have a guest?
Please, man, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, Crow family, please welcome the amazing Mark Richardson.
Hey, Mark.
Hey guys, you all right?
How's it going, man?
All right, thank you. Yeah, not
thank
too
you
bad.
so much for joining us, brother. It means a lot.
My pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, and congratulations on your new beer.
It's such strange times, and it's so hard, as you know yourself, and we'll get into this with a lot of bands at the moment. To get even 10% over the line at the moment is a challenge, because 90% of the time you can't even be in the same place as your band member,
Yeah.
So we've just been caning it, mate, as hard as we could, and it seems like now we can actually share the rewards with everyone. We can show everybody, what we've been keeping secret, and there's more to follow, which is brilliant. But yeah, sleepless nights, and we just did what we could, didn't we, Shane? It's brilliant.
Yeah, man. We just, I think we were talking about this before you come on, Mark, but adapting, finding new ways to sort of connect and keep yourself out there and connecting with the fan base and stuff. So it's been non-stop for us Crows. But how are you, mate? Where are you right now?
I am at home in Surrey, a little village near Guildford. And we bought this place 18 months ago as a derelict bungalow, and we're sort of slowly doing it up, and just getting there. We're getting there slowly. It's a lovely project to have, and it's good to be out the caravan though. I would say that we were living in a caravan for a little bit, but we're in the we've got a couple of rooms done, stuff, as you can see. So we're getting there. We're getting there, but. What am I doing? I'm doing a bit of teaching down at Bruce's place, Waterbear University down in Brighton. Not teaching, sorry, tutorials to start with, and a bit of mentoring and stuff like that. I'm actually I'm starting to be the odd job man for the local village as well. I put in a quote the other day to refurb the local playground because I'm like, I'm pretty handy. I wouldn't be renovating a house if I wasn't.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, adapt and persevere.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
We haven't got the band at the minute. Like I need to sort of investigate every avenue available to me. And if that means, getting in with the local parish council in order to do odd jobs for them, I'm going to do it. I don't know where this is going to go, this pandemic, So it will end. It'll come to an end, and we'll be back to normal. People keep saying a different kind of normal, don't they? But we'll get back to some semblance of normality, let's say that. And when we do, it'll be great. And I think what we need to be is we need to be ready for that. And you guys, actually, you're a shining example of that. You've been really resilient. You're finding other ways to bring in income and all of that kind of stuff. And, it's a really good example to young bands out there to, you've got to do that stuff. You've got to, like you say, you've got to adapt and we'll get through it.
Thank you, Ben. That's amazing for you to say. But like you just mentioned there, water bear. So doing these tutorials, is this the first time you've had that sort of tutoring and teaching sort of pupils? Is that new for you?
I used to do a bit of well, we can take it back all the way back to when Bruce set up ACM, because it's always Bruce that's got me in to do these things. The obvious connection being Little Angels, and then when Little Angels split up, Bruce went into education. I went into Skunk and Skunk Anansie, that is the band, not the other one. And so it was just easy for him to give me a shout and go, can you come in and talk to the students and just tell them about yourself? So I've never been a teacher. I've never been a lecturer. I've never put courses together or anything like that, like my wife does. She's amazing at writing courses and teaching them and all that sort of stuff. But I go in and sort of by way of almost like a bit of a motivational sort of thing, really, and just say, look, if I can come from a tiny little fishing village on the northeast coast, and do okay, then it's possible, So it's those sorts of things. But now I did my master's down at Waterbury University last year. I love saying that. I'm sorry, but the novelty hasn't worn off yet.
I love it.
So I got my master's down at Waterbury last year, and and because of the situation, another thing that I've said yes to is they need help with the online cohort of all the students. Everything's online, so they need some help doing tutorials and a bit of mentoring and all that kind of stuff. So I'm doing that as well, So, but I've always sort of been in and done sort of workshops and and showed people how I play. And the big thing actually that I really sort of did, my kind of USP, if you like, was to go in and say, look, I'm not really a flashy player, but I'm competent enough to do the job that I'm asked to do. And, that's half of the job. The other half of the job is being a nice guy, and getting on with people. And that's important when you're on tour 24/7, So, it's sort of, because they get a lot of people go into these colleges and play really flashy stuff, and that has its place, and it's amazing. And I wish I had practiced more, maybe, and had a bit more of that stuff in my armory. But it's not the be all and end all by any means. I'd much rather play a groove than that feels good. I have to be careful here because I get into trouble for talking down the clinicians and that. And I like I say, everything's got its place. It's just I do a different kind of thing, and that's quite attractive to some schools and unis, because it just shows that you don't have to be like an amazing player to get somewhere. It's important to be other things as well,
Yeah.
So
I mean, what a tutor. I mean, anybody walking into Waterbury and having a one-to-one with yourself, because not only are you a phenomenal drummer and you've
thank
had
you.
life experience on the road with, you know, big bands, you've been through hell through that journey. There has been moments where there's been ups and downs. It isn't just ups and downs of a band, ups and downs personality-wise. You know, what the do's and don'ts, you off the rails, back on the rails. Like, no, but it is good. I mean, that life experience. It's not just about teaching music. That's teaching life and trying to stay on that road. That's quite difficult.
Yeah, it has been a rocky path. You know, it was very difficult at first getting sober. And, oh, by the way, you know, good day to launch your beer. You know, with your probably your first sober guest.
There's quite an irony in that.
Don't worry, I love it.
I'm on the water. I am. That's the truth.
It's all fake. It is. It's all fake anyway.
Alcohol free, is it? So yeah, there's a bit of a story there. I don't know whether you want to go into it or not, but you know, it's. I think for me, the reason, I don't know if you know, Music Support is a charity that that I'm a founder of and a trustee of. That was a direct result of of my own personal experience and finding it incredibly difficult to, you know, when finding myself dependent on alcohol and cocaine, and needing to stop and wanting to stop. I had no idea where to turn for help. So Music Support is basically the culmination of a journey, a long journey to help people avoid the same situation. Basically, you know, when I finally got sober, it took me 3 years to get sober. When I finally did, I sort of promised myself that at some point that I would try and make it easier for others to at least find the information on what to do, you know, because, you know, put my manager and the band through hell for a minute there, you know, and they got to a point where they couldn't enable the behavior anymore. And so they had to give me an ultimatum. So that was the impetus really that sort of started my journey into recovery, into sobriety and into recovery. And that's been a very long road. You know, I'm in sort of entering my 18th year of sobriety now, and it's not been wasted. You know, Music Support is out there. It exists along with other charities now that are doing the mental health thing. We were kind of the first to kind of go, certainly the first music charity to kind of go, look, mental health has a massive part to play in all this, you know, and we need to start looking at it. And then others like Help Musicians UK started looking into the benefits of healthier living on the road, and commissioned a report called "Can Music Make You Sick" in 2016, and that sort of highlighted a lot of the difficulties that we face on the road as musicians. You know, like a lot of people, they can drink every night and they can go home and it's not a problem. And that was me for many years, until something major happened in my personal life, and then I couldn't cope with the way that made me feel. So my response to that was to numb it more, and eventually I became dependent on it. Like, I just couldn't face the reality of that situation, so I just had to numb it out, and eventually I became dependent on it. So that's one way. There's a million, a limitless amount of ways to sort of that people get into trouble, and an unlimited amount of ways that people get out of trouble, because everyone's different and everyone has their own story and their own childhoods, you know, and this and that and the other. Without getting too heavy, you know, there are solutions out there, and even though you might feel like you're on your own in it, you're never alone. There's always somebody that will be willing to listen, you know, and that's what I needed, and that's what was missing. It was somebody just to sit and listen to my deepest, darkest fears, you know, and just to say, oh, okay, I hear you. You know, it almost doesn't need fixing. In my case, it didn't need fixing. I just needed to say some stuff, you know, and that was keeping me pinned down in this addiction sort of thing. So, I mean, it's a lot, goes a lot deeper than that. You know, but essentially, that's the story. And but all through Little Angels, we all had a laugh. We all had a few beers, and we had a great time, you know. And the same through Skunk, and just towards the end of Skunk and into FEEDER, it just got a bit hairy there for a minute, you know. It wasn't very nice for a little while there.
Yeah, I didn't want to dig too deep, Mark, but was it the fact of like, maybe, like, obviously I'm a drummer, and I've done those tours like when I was growing up and stuff, where we were drinking every night to the point it just wasn't enough. If anything, you were just starting to become, so then you start drinking before you're playing. And I think there was one show I did in particular where I felt I either came off the stool or I felt I was coming off the stool. and genuinely, it was like, it was sold out. It was with a really good band. It was one of my shameful moments. You know, at the time, it was funny and punk rock, and I was like, yeah. And then when I kind of look back at myself, I was like, oh, what are you doing? You're trying to get a career. You're trying to. So I was very lucky. I almost kind of kicked my own ass. And then I made the rule then of I didn't drink before I go on. And Shane will tell you that now. I've been more persuaded to have a shot before I go on now. But for me, I don't really need that. I don't know, the gig is enough for me. I've kind of gone down that avenue of the buzz. The drug has now become the reaction of the crowd or the reaction of your bandmates. And to distinguish,
absolutely,
distinguish for me, clean and sober, what is a good gig? You know what I mean? That was a good gig, playing wise, and the vibe was there with your bandmates and the energy from the crowd. But without digging too deep with you, did you go more down the drinking while you were playing and through playing and then after playing and then?
So I always promised myself that I'd never drink before a show, and that. So my wife's just putting on a pop shield for me. Go on, darling, go for it. It's all off camera. This is very, very slick.
I love that.
Is it popping a bit? Okay. So it was always. Are we good? There we go. Is that better, fellas?
Sounds great. Yeah, sounds great.
And eventually, I sort of broke that boundary, and you know, I started getting sloppier, and then the amount I drank afterwards was, you know, ridiculous. And in order to drink more, then I'd be on the coke, and it just got ridiculous. It just got out of hand. And you know, my job deserved more. The fans deserved more, and my bandmates deserved more. Everybody deserved more, you know, than that. And what I failed to see was, and what I took for granted was how fortunate I was to be in the position that I was in. Right. What we didn't have then was like, just right, let's get him to a therapist now. Let's get him talking about whatever it is that's going on, because this isn't going the right way, which is what I would, you know, if I was managing a band now, and if Lee, our manager, was managing a band now, she'd be like, right, let's get you to a therapist. You know, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
But it's insidious addiction. It just creeps up on you. You know, 1 minute you saw it's a laugh, and you can go home and spend weeks without, you know, maybe just going to the pub for a couple of beers, and then, you know, and it was, but then the next thing you know, it's sort of, you kind of like, shit, I really don't want to sober up, because I really don't want to have to deal with what I need to deal with, and you know, and you almost don't even have that choice. That choice is taken away from you, really, with addiction.
So it's really like that's kind of hit home to me there, because you said obviously you were a drummer, great success, and then it wasn't until something bad happened in your life then the drinks happened. So do you think, regardless of being a drummer and in a band and in that rock and roll life, do you think your life would have gone down that road anyway, or do you think it was a case of like it was almost you were reacting to it and that was your go-to, that was your escapism, the drink and stuff, to not think about it, to numb you almost?
Yeah.
But would that have happened if you weren't in a rock band?
I think it would have happened at some point in some way. I don't know how it would, but it was always sort of, I don't want to use the word destined, but it was something that was going to happen because it happened. So if I hadn't been in a band, it would have happened out in, you know, Civvy Street and whatever job I might have ended up in, you know.
Yeah.
It would have happened because it was about not having the tools to deal with the situation that I was going through in a healthy way.
Yeah. So
the only thing I knew how to do, and I'm sure it's similar growing up in Wales to Yorkshire, you know, is you go down the pub and you don't talk about it. You just bury it and that's it. We don't do feelings. We just drink.
Yeah.
You know, so it's that sort of it was that sort of thing. I just didn't know how to cope with what was going on in my head and my heart, so to speak. So now I'm a real advocate for especially men, because don't forget, men my age is the biggest suicide group that there is in this country. It's huge. I think it's 45 to 55 age group males in this country is the biggest suicide rate, and I'm convinced. I don't have scientific proof, but I'm convinced that it's something to do with, or it could be argued that it's related to, men not feeling comfortable about being vulnerable about how they feel.
Yes.
You know, because it's man up, get over it, I'll stop being a wuss, that's weak, blah blah blah. You know, and actually, vulnerability is the most courageous thing that I've ever done. And you speak to, I mean, I've never been in the armed forces, and I'm not purporting to be somebody that akin to walking into battle or anything like that. But there's a really lovely lady called Brené Brown who does she studies this stuff, you know. And one of the biggest reactions she had was from the armed forces. When she interviewed the armed forces about vulnerability, they said, you know, of course I'm vulnerable. What do you think courage is? You know, it takes a lot of vulnerability to walk into battle. If you think about it,
yeah,
it makes a lot of sense. So why don't we talk about, why is it seen as weakness? Why is it seen as as something that's weak when we're struggling? I mean, I think it's probably changed quite a lot with your age group, and certainly has with my son's age group. You know, he tells his mates he loves them, and you can really sense that it's sincere. You know, that it's not like he's not just saying it lightly. He's like, he means it. You know.
Yeah.
So I think it has changed a lot, and I might be having maybe one foot in the past quite a lot with this stuff. I think I certainly don't know what it's like with maybe a generation below me, but I think it's probably still quite difficult thing to talk about amongst male peers, especially as we get older. What's it like? What is your experience of that stuff? Do you just kind of shove things under the carpet, or
there was I did a lot of sports and stuff growing up, so the banter thing, like we say that all the time.
Yeah.
The banter was tough. Like if you walked into that changing room and there was any show of weakness, you know, the boys would pick up on that. You know, your big school blouse, or obviously being polite on you, but there was a lot worse being said, and especially if like football or rugby, if you went down too easy, come on, get up, man up. Injuries, walk it off. It was always that mentality. So you were never allowed to show that vulnerability, that, oh, I'm injured, or I'm weak, or so that was very sort of early on. But what I've noticed with the band and my brothers here, and I can call that, we say that all the time. And Lloyd is the youngest one, and Lloyd is forever going, I love you, man. I love you, brother. You know, we just say it. We all say it. And it's like, and it's so important that you've got each other's backs, that support, that
especially on tour, especially when you know, if it's one thing I say to any band that sort of say, well, how do you avoid this? How would we avoid falling into the same trap? You know, and it's communicate. You have to be able to say to your bandmates, I'm really fucking struggling. You know, I'm really unhappy and I don't know what to do about it. And I don't need anyone to fix me. I just need to say, I'm fucking miserable. I know I'm fortunate. I know I'm in this amazing position, touring, doing festivals, whatever it is, but I'm just having a really hard day, you know? And at that point, what you need is somebody to say, I hear you. That's it. I hear what you're saying. I'm with you. Not sympathy, empathy. I'm with you. I understand, you know, not I feel sorry for you. The poor you. That's awful.
Yeah. And
that's just shit. But empathy, I'm with you. I'm sitting with you. I hear you. You know, we're in this together. Don't worry. We'll get through it. That's what you need to hear when you're having a shit day. I think
there's this idea as well, like if someone says something, like you've got to solve it for them. Like the people think, but you're not looking for answers. You just say nothing, hear me out. Because it's easier then when that person lays that shit on someone else. And I think the other person just goes, oh, I need to say something. Oh, I need to fix this. How can I make it better for them? You don't have to. Just be there for them. And let them go through, like I'd always say, about processes. Life is a process, good, bad, shit, everything. And coming around and adapting to it and working it out yourself is one of the hardest things to do. But if you
exactly, I think you absolutely nailed it. You know, listening and then fixing isn't listening. It's listening and fixing. Listening is really, really hard. To learn to become a good listener is one of the best things you can do for your mates, because you listen and you say fuck all when they've finished, and you say, I'm with you. That's all you need to say. Is there anything I can do? Is a much better way of saying, well, you should do this and you should do that. You know, because that's not helping them. They just need to be heard a lot of the time. And if they need that, if you want to let it be known that you're there for them, if they need help with anything, you can say that. But fixing is fixing, and it can be detrimental, really, 100%. To the situation. Yeah, it's always meant with good intentions. It doesn't come from a bad place. It's just not helpful. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
Perfect.
And it's like we've just said now we got some new material coming out, and it's on those verges. It's on. We'll explain more about that later, but because this is all about you. But Mark,
I love the the feeling that your music gives me. It's the reason I got into rock and roll. It's the reason I love music. Is bands like those damn Crows, because it's heavy, but it's emotive. You know, like just really heavy stuff doesn't really do it for me. You know, heavy emotive music, because I'm a softie at heart, whatever. But I want music to make me feel something.
Yeah,
you know, and that's what you guys do. So well done for that.
That's incredible. That's amazing. But I mean, what the guys coming to see you and learning from you and just having that vast sort of experience you got, that's, mate, your support now, you're supporting other people. That's musically, that's incredible.
Well, I think it'd be an incredible waste of a good resource if I was just kind of sitting there going, well, I went through, thank God I got through that, what's next kind of thing. And then, which obviously a lot of people do, because they don't want to keep revisiting it. But I just found myself talking about it to a lot, because I was open about it. A lot of people aren't open about it. That's the first thing. So the next thing is when somebody notices that you live in a sober lifestyle, and a lot of the time they'll say, how the bloody hell did you do that? And so I'll tell them. And then, and then that just, I found myself talking about it quite often to different people. And then it's just natural. And doing things like this and saying it in public just helps an awful lot of people. You know, initially I went to AA and I did that, and then I had therapy, and I don't go to AA anymore. And I'll have the odd alcohol-free beer, and that's okay. And I'm very comfortable with that, and it works for me. You know.
Yeah. I almost think there's this illusion as well, Mark, where people think if you're drinking too much or you're a drug addict, then you're a loser, you're a nobody. But some of the most switched on intellectual people I know, and like especially in the music game, Mike Exeter is another one that we've spoken at on CrowCast, and he's an incredible engineer, producer, and worked with some of the biggest bands on the planet. He's gone through that road and has somehow, like yourself, come out the other end and is now educating people about it. And they're some of the most switched on intellectual people I know. So it's not even like a class thing. Do you know what I mean?
It's nothing to do. It's totally indiscriminate addiction. It doesn't care who you are or what you've got, or, you know, if you haven't got the tools to numb, if you haven't got you haven't got the tools to figure out a healthy way to get through any problem, any life problem that you come to, then what we do is we turn to booze, because it's legal and it's allowed, and, you know, and obviously there's lots of other ways that people numb out as well, you know, sex, gambling, food. I mean, the list is almost as, you know, endless. There's a lot of ways that we do it, but some of them are less harmful than others, and some of them will take you to a low point quicker than a lot of others. Some of them, like maybe smoking. I don't know if there are any smokers in the room, but I mean, I gave up a long time ago because what am I doing this for? This is just going to end in my death. So it's a slow suicide, you know. It's you know, I don't know. It's difficult. It's a difficult thing to talk about, but I see it as my duty, if it comes up like it has done tonight, to discuss it. And and I'm comfortable with that, you know. It's all right. It's all good.
I think everybody can resonate from this conversation, because where we grow up, there's so many cases, so many people we know. And it's exactly what you said, just echoing what you said earlier, Mark, I would say the first chapter of my life and Shane's life, it's ignored. It's kind of, people don't want to kind of bring it up personally, or you don't want to kind of bring it up in conversation. The second chapter of my life is almost everybody's a lot more open. If we're talking about the generation thing. And I think I genuinely am thankful for that I do feel I've got people to talk to. And this is what's important. You have to talk. You have to tell people, like you said, if you're having a shit day, because I've known so many people who've gone, well, they have gone through addiction and they haven't come out the other end. And as I said, there was nothing wrong with those people. It was just their way of escapism, or they didn't know how to ask for help, or they just didn't know, like, you know. It was such a sad thing that I would even say about 15, 20 years ago, it was just it wasn't talked as much as it is now. You know, it was almost...
No, absolutely.
You know, or they're mental, or there was always a branding to it, especially where we came from. And I hope that don't offend it. That's how it was where we came. It was like, oh, they got issues, or there was a vulnerability about it as well, like, which is horrible. Like, you know, if they would come out and be honest, it would almost liquidize them as a person, like, you know.
Absolutely, and that's the shame of that's the sort of perceived shame of addiction, I think, you know. But I mean, if I just, you know, use the example of my music career, for example, every drummer that I've taken over from or replaced is now dead from alcohol or drug related illness. And Stuart Cable, you know, let's add Stuart in, bless him, you know. It's not like it's not common. I mean, this thing kills people every day. And I think to learn to navigate it has been one of the, I don't know why, I feel like I have a duty to to remain well and spread this message in honor of them, if nothing else. But, you know, also in honor of myself, you know, because I deserve to remain sober, and I deserve, you know, a life beyond my wildest dreams, which is what I was looking for in the first place. You know, I didn't know I was already sat on it and in it, but now, you know, I do think part of me harping on about this shit all the time is because, you know, look at John Lee, look at Michael Lee, look at Stuart Cable, you know, Robbie France, they're all gone. And that's just 4 in my life that, you know, that are close, that I was close to. So you look at that on a national scale, and it's just, you know, and you're adding all the suicides from the you know, just, it's just, I don't want to, we're maybe getting a bit too morose. I don't know. Mark.
Not at all, buddy. And I can't stress enough, mate. Thank you so much for bringing it up. I can see all the comments there, buddy, about how it's resonating with so many people. That's why, like, we'd call them the Crow family. Our fans are more than just fans, and the community that they are setting up, how they're talking to one another constantly now, whether it be about our music, but then there's off stuff as well, and they become friends, and, you know, outside of the band, and it's incredible, and it's that theory you're talking about, talking to someone, opening up. And thank you so much for sharing all that. I mean, that's, like you said, brave, but I think it's incredibly powerful, bud, because when I, as a songwriter, when I write about songs, there's something, like you talking about emotional and emotive and empathy. I had to flick on all those switches, and I'm a big believer in every negativity you have. There's this little way that you can turn into a positive, and you'll just look back someday and go, holy shit, you know, look how far I've come. And what you've just said there about all those incredible, talented musicians that just didn't have that person or that switch to just turn it for themselves, or speak to someone, or get the help they needed to turn it into something positive. And then you come on and tell your story, and it becomes that positive, which then spreads like wildfire through the Crow family. And
it is a positive thing, you know. And if you help one person, you know, there's always going to be skeptics out there. There's always going to be people that are just, you know, oh God, I didn't come on here to listen to this. You know, I wanted to listen to my band and feel good, you know. But I think maybe they're the ones that are struggling. I don't know. You know, but if it helps one person, if it helps one member of your family, then it's worth it, isn't it? It's worth it. And it's never, I've not, in all my years of sobriety, had a negative. I've never been proven wrong that if you're in that position and you sort it out and you get sober, if that's what you want to do, that it's never been worse. You know, sobriety is never. You know, it's never been worse than the best day when you were fucked up. You know? So, like, I love to say that my best day, my worst day now is better than my best day when I was fucked up.
Wow,
if that makes sense. So it really is. You know, it's look, nobody can tell you. If somebody points a finger at you and says you're an alkie or you're, you know, whatever, that the only person that can say that can label me as that is me, you know. But if a friend comes up to you and says, you know what, maybe we should have a chat, what's going on? You seem to be drinking too much. Is everything all right? Then that's a friend. That's somebody who cares, and maybe you should listen to them, you know. But I've just clicked on the comments thing and seen all these amazing comments. Oh my God, that's incredible! Wow.
I can normally pop them up like that. I genuinely didn't want to stop our train because it was just like, honestly, there's just so much. We don't even have enough hours in a week for me and Shane to literally lay it on you of like our childhood, and it's not like counselling. It's just more we can really relate to this. It's like, it's just everything. Our whole being in it, Shane, really.
Well, I think because we both come from. Do you come from small towns? Yeah. So Whitby and where are you from?
From Bridgend.
Right. Oh wow. Great memories from Bridgend. Yeah. So small towns where the culture is drinking. You know, the culture is also, you know, man up, get on with it, sort yourself out, don't be a wet blouse or whatever. It's very difficult to change that, you know, and you can't change it overnight. I mean, I wouldn't go back to Whitby now and, you know, and try and convince somebody to be vulnerable and get sober. But I am there if somebody asks me for help. This is the way I work it. I don't go out there and find people that are struggling or find people that I think should be getting sober. But if somebody reaches out to me and says, how did you do that? And can you just talk to me about what that looks like or what it, then my responsibility then is to hold out the hand of friendship and say, yes, I can tell you what my struggles were. And then what happens more often than not is they'll identify with the similarities and hopefully ignore the differences, because everybody's massively different, but the similarities that keep us sort of chained down, if you like, you know, clues in the word, they're very similar. So there's a lot of identification on that level.
Yeah, 100%. And the fact that obviously within this time, this situation, COVID, and, you know, you can't do what you're supposed to do, and people aren't seeing those loved ones because they can't. These things, like I just saw someone there, can listen to music anytime. These live streams are gold dust. It's because, you know, this is the time where we can talk. This is where you're just plugging into someone else's thought, consciousness, connecting. And we can't do that right now, like personally, physically. So, mate, honestly, I can't stress enough. Thank you so much for going there.
It's my pleasure. It's not a problem.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, no, it's part of my journey. It's part of my life story, and I'm not proud of the things that I did when I was messed up, but I'm pretty much proud of everything since. And you know, I never would have done a master's degree, for example, if I hadn't been sober. I never would have started music support, clearly, if I hadn't got sober. So there's like all these amazing things that have happened in my life as a result of sobriety. But you know, everyone's got their own journey. I think that you know, if you want to take anything away from this, is like if somebody comes to you and they're struggling, just listen. You know, that's all I want is somebody to listen.
You definitely have me as a listener if you pursue the podcast. You definitely.
Oh, brilliant! Thank you. I really should. Yeah,
I'm a massive fan of podcasts, and even if you just did one every now and again on this topic and your journey personally, or had other people and you talk to them the way you're talking with me and Shane, I'm completely captivated in it, Mark. So I hope you do pursue that, because I guarantee for everybody who's listening to this live and then everybody who kind of catches up on it, you would have connected with people tonight. And that's 100%. That is, there's always somebody who needs to hear what you've just said, like, you know?
Yeah. And I hope it's certainly not meant in a preachy way. It really is just, you know, that if you're struggling, there's help, you know, there is, you don't have to suffer it alone. You're not alone in it, you know. That's the important thing to remember.
Yeah, 100%. Mate, we'll go on.
I was just going to say, I mean, it's beautiful for me, and I'm not trying to change the layer of the show, but it's like growing up as a kid watching you as a drummer. It's lovely to hear the powerhouse Mark just being so honest. It's just like
that's another great point though, bro, because you know, Mark was this top off beast of a guy behind the kit, looked a monster, right? And it's like, but again, Mark, was it, tell me if I'm wrong here, you're acting that way on stage. So was it again then hard to come out of that shell and go, well, I'm Mark, but actually I got these few issues, but no, I can't be that because I need to be this guy behind the drums?
Absolutely. I was completely identified by my job from the time I turned professional to the end of the time I got sober. And I didn't realize that until I got sober, that I was just defined by what I did, my job. And I didn't want to ever come down. The other thing was, you know, the euphoria of doing a show in front of, you know, your adoring fans is really addictive too. And I never really wanted that to end, because it meant, oh God, you know, I go on stage and 2 hours goes past and I come off and I go, what the fuck happened there? I don't even remember. I go into this like flow state, which is just so blissful. It's like, I don't know, some kind of weird heavy metal meditation or something. I don't know, but it's just like I just get into this zone and it's awesome. But I was definitely defined by what I did, and that was part of the problem. You know, I didn't have a great sense of self-worth and of who I was and what I liked. I knew I liked what you liked, and I liked what you ate and what you listened to, and do you know what I mean? It was sort of that. So I sort of felt a bit quite empty, but the band filled me up, so that was okay until it wasn't there anymore. And then, you know, which obviously happened with Little Angels, and then happened with Skunk Anansie splitting up, and so it's a problem when you're defined by what you do. When it comes to an end, like, it's because then you're left with one question, and that is, who the fuck am I without this? You know.
Wow, that's so powerful.
So it's really important to, you know, as a band, and why it's so much more difficult for a lot of solo artists, I think, is to have that community around you, just taking care of each other, you know, and just sort of checking in. You know, yeah. It's difficult enough business as it is when you're on tour all the time, without feeling like you've got nobody to talk to as well on top of it all, you know. And it's such a simple thing to remedy as well.
So did it when it got really bad, did music then, was that like how do I put it, were you afraid then to go back into music, knowing that you could go down that road again?
I was afraid that I'd never have a good time ever again. I was afraid that I'd never enjoy a party ever again. I was afraid that people would look at me and go, oh, look, there's that sober guy. But actually, what happens over time is that that does happen. I mean, you know, people looking at you and going, oh, I don't want to talk to him because he's that sober guy. But you just, you know, they don't matter. Those people don't matter. What's important, heavy metal meditation. What's important is your own person. At that point, is that you continue to grow and you continue on your path that you've chosen. And if you get into situations where, like, I'll go to parties. I'll go to parties. I went to you know, on the road. It's hard not to go to the after show or whatever. But it's when I set a boundary for myself, and that boundary for me is when that person speaks too close, too loud, and spits in your face and bursts your eardrum, you know, and they're saying the same thing for the third time. It's like, okay, I'm out of here. You know, it's time for me to go to bed because I don't enjoy it anymore. You know, there's a really brilliant bit where everyone's having their first couple of drinks, and getting lively, and that's awesome. And I love that bit. But then when it goes too far, it's just I'm not judging. I'm just saying, for me, that's when I go to bed. I'll go back to the bus and go to bed because I just don't enjoy it very much after that. But to sort of complete the circle, there is, you know, if you're in a position where you find you're needing to lead a sober life and you're scared of that stuff, there's nothing to be scared of. You know, there is life. My life has been better without booze than it has been with it. And I've nearly been sober for the same time amount that I was, you know, alive while I was drinking. Well, obviously not when I was a kid, but I've been sober a lot longer than I was drinking now, is what I'm trying to say. So, and I don't a day doesn't go by where I'm not grateful for that, to be given the choice to stop, to be given the choice to make a different life, you know. So
incredible, but I mean, what a story. And incredible that you've come through the other end with all that sort of knowledge and power, and you can pass on to other people, which is priceless.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important also to say that if anything, any of this chat has triggered anything for anybody, you know, you can send an email to the lads, and I'll be happy to answer any questions anybody's got. You guys have got my email address, so you can forward them on. It's part of the process, you know. It's part of, I see it as part of not my job, but I enjoy it. I enjoy helping people. So
that's phenomenal, buddy. That is absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
I mean, maybe we'll come back to that, but let's talk about Mark the musician. So, Mark, going back as a kid, where were you born, Mark? I
was born in Leeds,
right,
in 1970.
So what bands, what music, what was it? Was it drums straight away? Do you know, if you can remember? Was it drums straight away?
You know, it was, because we moved to Scotland, and I remember when I was 3, I got a tin drum, you know, just a single like tin thing from as a present from my nan, and I smashed that to bits fairly soon, and even at 3 years old, and then we moved to Whitby. We moved to Yeadon, which is a suburb of Leeds, and I had a friend at school called Neil, and he had a drum kit. I used to go around and play on that, and then one day coming up to Christmas, it disappeared, and I was like, "Oh, that's a shame." And he didn't tell me that my dad had bought it for my Christmas present, and you know, he got a new one, and so and it was a Ludwig Junior as well. I wish I'd still had it. It's worth a bloody fortune.
It would.
Yeah, it'd have been a nice little thing to still have. But anyway, and I used to play, you know, those tape players that were sort of that shape, and they had the buttons on the front there.
Yes,
really showing my age now. I got one of those, and I just used to put on my mum and dad's music, because I didn't really have. I mean, I soon got into Shawadi Waddy, you know, and you know, at 6 years old, it's like, and started playing along to them. But other than that, it was yes, folks, I did just admit that. Other than that, it was mum and dad's record collection. So it was ABBA, and it was the Beatles and Simon and Garfunkel, and I used to try my best to play along to these records, you know. And that was the start of it all, really. But I knew I loved it, and it was the only thing that I would do every day, because I was all over the shop.
Yeah,
I was all over the place, like a lot of us are when we're that age, you know, just full of it. Probably undiagnosed ADHD or something, I don't know, but you know, no attention span. Just like
that's exactly what I tell him. Like, and diagnosed, as you put it, like, because you're just
just all over the place, a right handful, you know. And I was always the one jumping off the swing and breaking my arm, and you know, all of that, just all of that. Anyway, but drums was the only thing that I could really focus on, and that I did every day. And through my work with the Clemberg Drum Project, or the Drumming Project as it's becoming known, I'm starting to understand why that is, because we know through that research that drums have an incredible effect on the body and the brain, and it's an amazing instrument in terms of that sort of stuff. We did a test with a school over in Gloucester, I think, an autistic school, and the results were amazing in terms of the difference between before. What we did was we gave an amount of autistic students drum lessons. I think it was over 16 weeks, 2 a week, and at the start of the lessons, they were not able to sort of look around and enjoy themselves or communicate in any way with each other. And at the end, they were looking around, having fun, laughing. You know, I was connecting with a couple of them whilst they were drumming. And so from those results, from those, you know, scientifically sort of recorded and all of that kind of thing, we're now or the project is now moving on to dementia to see what effect drumming can have on dementia. So, you know, it's an amazing instrument. And I think that's probably the reason that I kept coming back to it, because I just got a sense of relief. Even now, we moved house, like I said, haven't got a studio set up here yet. So I've been using a friend of mine, Ollie. He's got a studio down the road, and they let me go and play because it's a separate annex to the house. So I don't need to, you know, I wave at them through the window and say thank you and go and have a little play. And I went and had a practice for the first time in months the other day, and I just felt so good when I came out, you know, because when you see the fMRI scans of a drummer's brain, and yes, we do have them, it's lit up like a Christmas tree. It's the most amazing thing, you know. Yeah. Every part of the brain is almost engaged, and it's really quite incredible. And so it stands to reason that you've got physical activity engaging all your limbs is gonna. So you've got that physical activity, but then you've also got the sort of the activity in the brain that's kind of kicking off, and you know, it's no wonder it makes you feel good. You know? Yeah. So I think that was it. I think that was the attraction and the pull towards playing, and the reason that I sort of kept coming back to it every day, because I just loved it so much.
Amazing. So were you taught then with drums? So what age were you when you thought, right, I love this, but I want to make this my career?
14. And I know the year, because I did a school dance. I played at a school dance. Me and my mates, we practiced Run to You by Bryan Adams for about 6 months. Yes. It was just our favourite song, and we couldn't be asked to learn anything else. So it was like, should we just run that again? You know, like. And the teachers came past, and one of the teachers from the school band, a band that was made up of the teachers called the Gels at Whitby School, and they said, "Oh, do you want to come and?" Thinking we had a full set, you know, do you want to come and support us at the school dance kind of thing? And we were like, yeah. And the door would close, and it was like, does he know we've only got one song? I think, you know. And so anyway, we did this one song, and we, you know, finished the song, and the crowd just went nuts, you know, and because it was a popular song at the time. It was a massive, you know, Run to You by Bryan Adams in 1984 or 5 or whenever it was it came out. It was the same year it came out anyway. It might even been 86, but I just remember this noise from the crowd. All these people in the audience that I was at school with that had never given me a second look, all of a sudden were looking at me and cheering and clapping and going mad. And I was like, hey, I love that. I'll take that. Yeah. So from that point onwards, I was like, every decision I made, everything I did pretty much was towards a career in music. And that started 7 years later actually 4 years later when I met Bruce and Jim and Toby down at Scarborough Theatre and Around.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was I forgot what you asked me now, but that was kind of the start of it, really. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was it. That was the turning point in me that kind of said, like, this is what I want to do for a living.
Incredible.
Yeah. And then I went to Scarborough Technical College, and then I sort of was like, who's the hottest band in town? And it was this band called Mr. Thrud, and who turned into Little Angels. They were called Mr. Thrud before. And and so I went down. They had a residency at this theatre in town called the Theatre in the Round, and they used to play there once a month, I think, or once a fortnight, and they just absolutely packed it out. And I was like, right, these are the guys. I need to get to know these guys, because they're the business. There's no one else doing this in this town. And there was rumours that they'd had, you know, management sniffing around. And then they did this thing with Channel 4, like this 15 Minutes of Fame or whatever it was with Channel 4 that they used to do back then. And then they signed to Polydor, off they went, kind of thing. So that was my connection with Little Angels and that whole side of things. And then when Michael Lee left, so well, okay, here's another connection with addiction. I have it sounds wrong to say it like this, but the drummer from Guns N' Roses, Steven Adler, had a terrible heroin problem, and he got fired, and Matt Sorum jumped in the Guns N' Roses seat. And Matt was playing with the Cult at the time, so the Cult needed a drummer. So Mickey Lee joined the Cult from Little Angels, and then the Little Angels were like, "Shit, we need a drummer. Who can we get?" At short notice, they called me, and I jumped into the Little Angels seat, and not shortly after that, they gave me the gig. So that was like another sort of, that's and that's how I got the job, because they wanted someone from Scarborough, someone they knew they could get on with, somebody that they knew that could sort of do the job and be a bit of a laugh on tour. They needed to know that they got on with them. So I ended up my first gig with them. We did a little warm up at the Green Man in London there, or just off Marylebone Road, and then my next gig was Manchester Main Road Football Stadium supporting Bryan Adams, the very man who I'd played the song of as a 14-year-old, going, "Yes, this is what I want to do." This is
Did he say to Brian, I know this one?
Yeah. I had thought, Shane, he go to Brian, run it again.
My dad, we played Cardiff Arms Park, and my dad said to me, because I was a rugby player, played for Yorkshire very briefly as a youngster, and he said, I always knew you'd play Cardiff Arms Park, but I didn't think it'd be behind a drum kit.
Wow.
So that's a nice.
What was that
story.
like? What, I mean, talk us through that, bud. The where you went from there to there, like instantly, almost.
Yeah, man.
I was almost.
It's one thing like playing in a band, and doing those smaller shows, but
I think I was so ready. I was so ready to move up in my career, though. It didn't feel. I mean, I was obviously nervous, and it was like was the most amazing thing that had ever happened to me. After all, I was kind of realizing my lifelong dream. I was 21, and it's all I'd thought about since I was 6 years old, pretty much, was playing the drums. And then from 14, how can I play the drums and make it my living, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So,
so you were ready.
I was ready. Like I was in the band that I was in. I was doing a lot of stuff. I was driving, like I said before. I was driving, doing the posters, calling the venues, booking the gigs, this, that, and the other. I mean, that's not strictly fair on the other members of the band. I didn't do everything, but I did a lot, and I just felt, I felt bad when I left them, because we just got some interest from A&M Records at the time to do some demos at a little place in Harrogate called Blue Strike Studios. With a guy called Frank Meisen, who's sadly no longer with us, but we did like 15 songs in a day, and sent these rough demos off to A&M, and then the band asked the Little Angels. I got the call from Toby saying, will you come down and help us out, which led to the gig, and I there was no way. It wasn't even a question that I was going to turn it down. It was like, this is what I've always. There was a little bit of sadness at having to leave my own thing, and I don't think I ever really recovered in the sense of the sense of input and control that you have in a band that you've grown up with.
Yeah.
When you join something that's established, you're very much, which I have. All the bands that I've joined after they've been established. And after they're successful, so there's always a sense of like you're just sort of one step back from in the hierarchy, and that's not anything that it's certainly in Skunk Anansie that's never been something that's actually true. In fact, in none of the bands it was actually true. It was all stuff that I made up because of my own self-worth issues, So So, but it's difficult to feel a full part of something that's already established that you walk into. I obviously do now with Skunk. 25, whatever it is, 6 years later. But it's taken a while.
Wow.
When Bruce was on, Toby said the same when he came on you. There was obviously the period where you're like, yes, this is it, and you can see the band is taking off and it's going in the right thing. And as Bruce put it, then Nirvana dropped Nevermind.
Nirvana fucking ruined it for all of us. No.
which for us, we're sitting there kind of going, oh, is it? Knowing for the last 20 years, we've been telling people how Nirvana inspired us, because obviously we missed the 80s period. Obviously, I grew up with 80s records through family, like you would have said, and same with Shane. But for us, we were that 14-year-old that you were, and the records around at that period were more like your Nirvana's starting to explode, and that's what kind of your Metallica's. That's what we're grabbing our as young rockers. So it's just funny that Bruce basically said it as you. They came along and fucking ruined everything.
Well, I think it needed a good shake-up, didn't it? And what an amazing band, and what an amazing songwriter he was, And actually, Dave Grohl is still one of my. I'd much prefer it if he was sat behind a drum kit. I know he writes great songs and he's a brilliant frontman. He's really personal. Everyone loves him, and he's really funny. But I'd love to see him play more. I love his musicality on the drum kit, and the way he plays and how he forms his patterns. And he did an amazing record with 9 Inch Nails, a White Teeth, I think it was called. And, just the grooves on that record. I mean, everything he does, I love it. I just wish he'd do more.
Yeah, he did a track as well. I was showing Shane with Josh and Trez Rentner called Mantra.
Right.
I don't know if you've heard that song, but
I've not heard that.
Neither did Shane, and I sent a link. He doesn't do anything like spectacular, like what we were on about at the beginning of the show. It's not Instagram drumming. It's more everything's in the pocket and everything lifts and everything rises, and you can feel the drums coming alive, and you can feel the song coming alive just because he's almost oh man, I'll send you the link for that Mantra.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying there. It's just like his accents and his personality are the drum kit. They are that thing, so
so it's as important as having loads of chops to me.
Yes,
as important.
Yes.
No more important, no less important, but as important.
That makes sense. So is he your favorite drummer, or was there someone else?
Well, I grew up with sort of listening to my sister's after my mum and dad's records. It was my sister's records. I was like, this ABBA stuff's a bit, rubbish. I'm older now. I want something, and she was playing this record one day, and it was Led Zeppelin 4. So I was like, okay, so maybe I'll. There you go. So that was my first. It's when my love affair with John Bonham started, and it was Brian Downey from Thin Lizzy, Stuart Copeland from Police. So this is obviously a lot earlier. John Bonham, obviously. I wasn't a massive Keith Moon fan, but I could appreciate what he was doing. And who else? God, there's loads. You can never remember them on the fly, can you? But it was that sort of era, And then the showmanship of sort of Tommy Lee came into play a bit later, and all those kind of guys, and Mickey Curry, actually, from Bryan Adams' band, has a massive influence on me, because it was all about, he sat me down on the steps behind the stage at Cardiff Arms Park, and he went, the most important thing is playing for the song.
Yes.
And if anyone ever tells you any different, they're full of shit. The song is the most important thing. You'll keep your gig if you keep that in mind, or you'll keep, you'll be able to work in music if you keep that in mind,
I love that.
He said to me, nobody ever got a job from playing a paradiddle at 1,000,000 miles an hour. but you know, the guys who play 4/4 in a pocket will never be out of work.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely spot on, of course, you know.
Yeah, and I think that ability to be able to put a flavour to something, but yet again not ruin what's being created around it. Like, you know, having that year, we talk about it all the time, don't we, Shane? About like it's having that year and listening to what everybody else is doing, and how can I complement that? No, how can I be seen here, or how can I be heard? It's all about like how can that part be better?
Yeah.
That's you laying back, as you would say, Mark, or you put in something else there that drives somebody else forward.
Yeah,
you try to do that a lot. It's almost challenging that part, like, you know.
Yeah, and everything needing a reason to be there. You know, like I think my most obvious experience of that was the Black Traffic record, when we recorded everything, and then we basically kind of went, we need to do this a different way, and we sort of started again, and but I recorded just the drums on their own, and then the cymbals after, and then we'd chop it up, and then we'd put samples on and all that, and that was my sort of first experience of really kind of placing things. It was like, let's have a cymbal there and a fill there, and let's move that fill from there to there, because you could, you know. And that was an amazing experience. But just, you know, just from what you're saying, just everything having it a reason to be there, and not just sort of playing for playing's sake, you know.
I don't want to get too geeky for everybody, but I gotta ask a question for myself per year. How did that feel? I haven't done that process yet, and I've been playing, you know, a few years, but I haven't done that process of recording the drums and then the cymbals separate. I've heard about the technique, and it has been talked about a couple of times where it's like, oh, maybe we'll do that, and I'm thinking, oh no, I haven't done that. Here we go. It's that new, oh shit, and you know, time is money. I can't get it. They're going to be like, oh. How was that? Was that weird, or did you just kind of mime the cymbal hits? And
yeah, I just put Roland pads on the cymbals, and then just put a Roland snare, you know, the mesh snare on where the snares were when I did the cymbals, and just put towels on all the toms and didn't do the fills. It is a bit weird. But I'd not really been aware of it before, but it started in the 80s. You know, I mean, it was an old technique when I got round to trying it, or when we tried it at Skunk. And what if you're a loud player, then it enables the engineer obviously to turn the top kit and the cymbals and hi-hats and all of that up and down separately of the drums, which means they can. We are getting geeky, aren't we? Which means you can compress the nads out of one or the other independently, because if you don't separate them and you compress it, it's a particular thing, but it's not much use on a record. So that was it, because I've always been a heavy player and played too much cymbal and not maybe been subtle enough at times. It drove the band a bit nuts. So we just tried this new technique, and it was great, you know. Plus it allowed you to sort of, it really lends itself to doing overdubs and all that kind of thing. So you can create these really nice patterns that I then couldn't play later.
Sounds brilliant. How did I do that? Yeah.
How did I do that again?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I overdubbed it. Oh, okay. Right.
No, I have to ask that. That's a geeky, selfish question for me, because I've been watching a lot of YouTube, as you do in lockdown, and I've seen a lot of stuff where Taylor Hawkins, Dave Grohl have been doing it in past recordings, and then I was thinking, oh my god, I can imagine that coming up at one point, and how would you get over it? Do you know what I mean? So that's great. Exactly what you said. Then I understand. Manipulate the electronic drums with that's brilliant. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's worth trying once in your career. You know, if you don't like it, you don't like it. But you know, you never know. It might be something that's...
They're raising the cymbals for me at the moment, Mark. That seems to be the new one. It's how high can we make the cymbals so they're not close to the...
So you can't reach them.
Yeah, you know, for anyone watching this, like, obviously, Mark, I know you're quite a tall guy in real life. I'm average height. But the higher the cymbals go, I'm even starting to raise off the stool to hit them now.
Yeah.
He's like, Shane, will you get that cymbal for me?
This technique may give you a solution. You know, it may be of some use in that case. It's worth giving it a go for sure.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So obviously with the Little Angels, how did Skunk Anansie come about? I mean, I know people might have heard it before, but you know, without I know Little Angels, everything that happened there with Nirvana and obviously the way the music industry changed.
Yeah. Very quickly, Bruce and Jim and I, when Little Angels split up, we formed a band called Blow, and it was a bluesy kind of DIY, when DIY really wasn't a thing, band. We had management that helped us with releases and stuff like that, and we released a live record called Shrooming at Moles, which is self-explanatory and kind of sets the tone really for the rest of the band. Need I say more? You know,
Okay,
that was kind of. But actually, there's a nice little link in. It's really strange how these things link in all the time. When Blow did our first national tour, where we were so broke, we were sleeping in tents in graveyards and asking fans if we could sleep in their gardens and stuff.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Wow.
But what was I going to say? Yeah, so on that tour, FEEDER, who had just started, supported us on that tour. And that's when I first met John and Taka and Grant.
Wow.
And Dean, actually, the other guitar player. So how's that for like some weird synchronicity? I mean, it's just bonkers, isn't it? And then I whilst I was in Blow, I was living in Nottingham at the time, I think. It's all a bit hazy. But I went to see Skunk Anansie play at Rock City, which is still one of my favourite venues in the UK. And I said to Steve, I want to get there early, my mate Steve. I want to get there early because there's Skunk Anansie are supporting him. And he went, what? Skunky what? And I said, this band, I saw him in the kebab shop in Andover the other day. We were on the telly. It's this song called Selling Jesus. And it was just bonkers, but I absolutely loved it. You've got to see this front woman. She's amazing. Oh. And so sure enough, we get there just as they come on stage. And I'm absolutely just blown into the back wall, you know, with this band. But walking home after the gig, and I said to Steve, that is the band I want to. That is the sort of stuff I want to play. I don't really want to play bluesy rock. I want to play that, you know, whatever it is. I love it, and you know, it's the indie rock music or whatever, fronted by this maniacal, you know, crazy front person, which is how I perceived her at the time from that show, with just this great band of musicians, and which really weirdly, Blow then played at the Coco, and Ace was stood next to me watching me play, and I had no idea. That's the other thing. On the way home, I said to Steve, but the drummer's like, he needed to be giving it a bit more, you know. It wasn't Robbie France. Robbie had left. And they had this temporary guy in called Louis, who was playing for Nena Cherry. He was a session guy, lovely fella, great player. And I said, oh, well, you know, anyway, I look forward to seeing them again, sort of thing, and didn't think anything more about it. Then the next thing, I see Ace next to me when we're playing at Coco. And the next day is the Kerrang Awards, and Blow get nominated for Best New British Band, and so does Skunk Anansie. And Skunk Anansie won it, hands down, of course. And I bumped into Skin half cut after a few bevies. And I said, oh, your gig was amazing the other day. And but your drummer's a bit shit. And I'd sort of thought it. I'd thought it and thought I mustn't say it like that. I must find another way to say it, but it was already out my mouth. And she sort of looked at me, and I went, "Oh, well, that's lovely of you to say so." Well, we're actually, Louis is a temporary drummer. Give us your details, and I'll get our manager to give you a call. And then, so that was it. I sort of went away thinking, yeah, whatever, that's never going to happen. And it did. And I got called for an audition. I spoke to Bruce about it, and he was absolutely lovely. He sort of said, you'd be mad not to go for it. You'd be mad. I mean, they're such a great band, and it's right up your street. And he was beautiful, so lovely about it. And so I went for the audition, and we got on really well. I played okay until the very end, when Cass played this really complicated bass rhythm that didn't start on the one, and of course at that point I was completely fucked. But we had a good laugh about it. And then a few days later, sorry if this is going on too long.
No, mate, this is brilliant.
Brilliant, Mark.
A few days later, I'm back at where I was staying, and I get this phone call, and it was sort of 11 o'clock at night, and it was my manager. It was Skunk's manager, Lee, who's still my manager. But she called me and said, "Look, the band are in studios in Islington. They're doing a soundtrack. They're doing a piece of music to a piece of film." It was the Strange Days soundtrack, which is, I don't know if you've seen it. It's kind of a turn of the century sort of like Catherine Bigelow directed movie, and there was this scene in it towards the end where it's counting down to New Year, the end of the century, and they're chasing through the crowd, and they had to do this piece of music to it. And they said, "Can you come and try and do the drums on it, because they're sort of struggling." And I was like, I can't ever remember thinking, "You must be fucking joking. Do you know what time it is?" Like, I was like in the car and on my way to the studio within minutes, and I was probably setting up, because I had to get my stuff in the car, and because their drummer had taken all his stuff back and set all the stuff up. So now it's like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning by the time we get set up and get a sound and get going. And they're looking at their watches because they've got to leave, because they've got Glastonbury the next day, their first show at Glastonbury. So they're like kind of getting a bit twitchy because time's ticking on. And anyway, I played this piece to camera for that scene, and they were like, "That's it." The next day I got a call saying they like you as a person, they like your playing, you can play in the studio, all seems to be really great, why don't you join the band? They're just gonna do Glastonbury, and then once that's done we'll meet up. And that was it. I was in, and I couldn't believe it. From like a few weeks earlier, just saying, "Oh, what a band, what an amazing band. I'd love to be in something like that," and then ending up in the drum stool. It's you really have to pinch myself. I really have to pinch myself a lot, because you think, that's two major opportunities now that I've had, that in two really well established, successful British rock bands. And don't forget, after the Little Angels, I thought, well, that was lovely while it lasted. It was really nice. Yeah, I'm sad, but I'm really glad it happened, kind of thing. Not thinking that it had happened again. And there I was on my way to Leeds Festival, still listening, still learning the music with my headphones on, going, shit, I don't know if I've learned this. I don't know if I know it well enough. And Cass just pulled my earphones out and he went, "Mark, if you don't know it by now, you never will. Forget it," And it was just my first gig with him. It just went so well, It just totally put me at ease, and of course he knew that I knew it. It was just, I was, again, my own insecurities, like,
psychologic, yeah.
Yeah,
So what was your
psychological.
first gig with Skunk Anansie?
It was Leeds Heineken Festival.
Right.
In the tent. So this is you would have been too young probably to remember the sort of hype around it and all of that, I think. But there was just an amazing buzz about the band when they were releasing their first singles and Skin was coming out, because the world's never really seen anything like Skin before.
Exactly.
And like everyone now is talking about, mental health and gender, and, they're out and they're openly gay and they're talking politically and all of this kind of thing. Skin was doing that in 1993 and 1994, way before it was sort of seen as acceptable to do that. And she was fighting for those rights back then.
Yeah.
So she is, quite an incredible, it's an incredible band, actually. It's quite an amazing sort of band she's an amazing woman, and it's an amazing band with an amazing manager who stuck with us the whole way through as well. And, talk about resilience and adapting, our manager is so like, well, I'm like grinding metal from containers to try and get my studio going. She's trying to figure out how the fuck we're going to survive, and it's a really, really difficult time for everybody, admittedly, but in the context of Skunk Anansie, it's quite tricky. We are very fortunate that we're looked after by an amazing manager, because she thinks so far ahead. And so we're okay, we're paying the bills, but it's an amazing band to still be going and still be working and still be sort of relevant and vital in a lot of ways. I think the world still needs, certainly still needs the band's music. We've got a lot more to say, and Skin definitely has a lot to say, and it's important. So a lot of the stuff she says is really important. So
yeah, it's like the bands you've been in, Bud. They're all different. But like when I think of Skunk Anansie, I think of this force. I think of like this. I had to say this to Ronnie. There's so many bands out there that I can look at and go, "Oh yeah, we do that," or "I can do that." Blah blah. Skin. When I first saw her, I saw this like. Oh, without saying anything, there was this mouth, like, and it just this powerhouse. Do you know what I mean? And it was just like, boom! I don't care what you think of me. I don't. There was this force of nature, So when you were playing, when you're behind that kit with a band as forceful as that, that's going to be another level again, is it? Of adrenaline, another sort of experience. And what was the biggest crowd you played to? I'd imagine that the crowd. Our Skunk Anansie gig is completely different to the other bands you've played with, and for sure. It raises everything, I guess, does it?
Yeah, I mean, I had to. I mean, I was hired because I could do I was hired for the person that I was and the job that I could do. They didn't want a replacement for Robbie. Robbie was an incredible drummer. He was a jazz drummer turned rock player. Yeah, just an insane player. But I definitely had to up my game in Skunk, and we just have this rule, like so when we write new songs and we go into the studio, it's like that's one level, and then as long as we're better than the record when we go on tour, we don't need just like regurgitate the record, but as long as we're better, we improve as musicians with each record that we do, then that's our sort of level of our sort of gauge of how we gauge ourselves as musicians. As long as we're improving a little bit, then that's how we know we're sort of doing the right thing by ourselves and the band. But I definitely had to up my game from, that kind of just that 4/4 sort of British bluesy rock thing that I'd been doing before. But in some ways, again, I'd just been waiting for the opportunity to go fucking nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
which Skunk Anansie allowed me to do. Like, I'd never played so hard. I'd never, you know, I mean, I was dealing with a lot of anger, I think. It was great therapy. And well, as you know from us, I've already spoken about the drumming project stuff. We know it's good therapy. So I was getting rid of a lot of anger and frustrations and all of that sort of stuff that I couldn't express verbally.
Yeah.
It was therapy for me as well. Excuse me. Yeah, it was just an unbelievable thing to be involved with, an unbelievable band to be involved with, and such amazing characters, you know, all of them, Lee, Skin, Ace, and Cass, you know, just so very different. If you had the choice, right, of putting 5 different, I include the manager in the band as well, because she's such an integral part. But if you could choose to put anybody together in a band, you'd just never choose it, would you? You just never. You'd never think to put the 4 of us together. So, and we're so different that it shouldn't work, but it does.
Oh, goddamn right it does.
Well, we discovered Mark. We would have discovered you around, I don't know, maybe 96 or something like that. I'm not sure, but I know definitely I was super young. As Shane said, when I first seen Skin, it was kind of like, I don't know whether you were on like Top of the Pops or whether you were. Muse used to play this like late show on ITV. I'm not sure if you did that as well, but I definitely seen her on TV, and I was half scared because it was that element of punk rock that scared me. That's a weird to say that, but there were certain parts of the music, like punk rock music, where you almost knew it was nasty, like, you know, and it was like, and that drew me in more then, and that became like a soundtrack to where we live. I mean, you'd always hear Skunk Anansie on. It's one of those bands that's followed many Welsh men, women, massive fan base in Wales, like 150,000%. Along with like 3 Colours Red and other bands, which we followed massively, like, do you know what I mean? So, and then obviously we did follow FEEDER. I am segueing slightly, but we did follow FEEDER. And knowing, like, I had seen FEEDER as a youngster with John. Yeah. But then when you heard the news, you were joining from a drummer's point of view. And I know there might have been criticism and there would have been fans in place. But for me, I was so excited because, you know, I was too young to really understand like the politics that goes on in music industry. I just wanted to make it in a band and I didn't really get much else. But I was excited because this, you know, the animated drummer, like you said, that excitement, the guy who went to Skunk Anansie was moving with FEEDER, which was another band that I'd followed and thought, wow, this is going to be interesting. And I think I seen you along with, I was talking about it earlier, with our guitarist or one of my good friends in like Reading, and you played like the Radio 1 tent or something. And it was just such a good show, really, really good show. I don't know how that felt on the drums.
I remember that gig so clearly. All my first gigs, really, I remember so clearly, and that we were headlining the Radio 1 tent and that Reading festival, and I was really nervous because I'd heard, it was the sort of start of things, you know, appearing online and all that, you know, 2002, summer of 2002, and it was kind of not the start of the social networks yet, but you sort of heard things, you know, online murmurings and all of this, and I'd sort of got the word that the fans weren't happy and all of this, and, you know, bring back John, and you know, obviously impossible, but you know, or John was, you know, it won't be as good without John, rather, you know, all that sort of stuff, and it couldn't have been further from the truth, because that tent went off, and, you know, it's testament to the band and their songs that they could fill that slot, and it was an amazing gig. You know, it's such a great thing when you see a massive tent like that going off, you know, and everyone, like, drinks going up in the air for just a day and all of that sort of stuff, and so It was so did you say you were in the audience, Ronnie?
I was in the audience for that gig.
Oh, amazing.
Because for me, it was a great moment because, like I said, I was a fan of your work, especially with Skunk Anansie. So I just knew it would work for me. Like, you know, I was kind of like, this is going to be special. And it was great to be there to watch that moment. And I don't know if anybody watching this was there, but it was such a great moment because it just seemed like a brilliant moment for FEEDER as well. Like, you know, and that's why it was a cool spot to ask you, did you feel that? Did you feel that in the tent? It was just like, now I understand it from a band point of when they say that's an electric gig, that was an electric gig to be at, even though it was in a festival. And we all know performances can get kind of lost at festivals because there's everybody having moments all over the park, like, you know. That to me was like a real moment. And it wasn't because I was younger and it was like, I'm in a field with a band. It was, you know, up to that point, I'd followed bands. I'd gone to your TJs, or I'd gone up to Wembley to watch bands and stuff like that. And that was a really nice moment to see a great drummer that I know John was, but then obviously for you to go in and fill those shoes, but to just put your own thing to it as well, like, you know. And
I had to really, because it, you know, John was so loved and he was such a great player. But there's you can't, and I would always go into anything that's maybe in the future, that knowing that I have to be myself and put my own stamp on it. You know, whether there's anything else in the pipeline or not. I'm glad that that's what I did. I'm glad I didn't try and fill shoes. It was a difficult situation because of the circumstances of John's death. It was incredibly sad. But I just knew I wanted to do a good job, and I knew that I wanted to do the songs justice and John justice. And the best way to do that was to play it in my own way, but with the enthusiasm of somebody that's sort of doing it for the first time, you know. So it was great. I was incredibly sad about the demise of Skunk because I felt so responsible for it, because it wasn't just my sort of addiction stuff that led to it, but it was just a bit rubbish. And then so a year to pass and try and get other things going, and nothing was happening, and then to get that call, like, you know, I think John passed on the 7th of January, and Grant called me sort of shortly after, obviously in bits, you know, just saying, look, we want to carry on. It's the only way we can honor him, or the best way to honor him. But we just want to know that we've got a drummer in line to sort of do it, and you're our first choice, kind of thing. So I said, yeah, absolutely. Nobody wants to join under those circumstances, anything. But of course, I was totally up for it. I was a drummer that had lost his band and was in need of a job, and still not sober yet. So don't forget, like, I'm defined by what I do, and I didn't have a gig, so I needed a gig to feel better about myself. And I also, but by the same token, I was like, oh God, this is such weird circumstances. It's so sad and horrible. So carried all of that sort of stuff, all of those feelings into that first show. And by the end of the first song, they'd all gone, because you lot just went mental, just went absolutely nuts. Like I said, you know, drinks in the air, first song, and it just kicked off and was amazing. And for the next 8 years, I recorded 3 records with them and toured extensively around Europe and Japan and the UK, and had an amazing time. You know, and another amazing songwriter, really. You know, Grant's such a prolific writer. He pretty much writes a song a day. There isn't many days go past where he doesn't pick his guitar up and write a song. Yeah, it's quite amazing. It's quite amazing from that point of view, really.
Follow him on Instagram. He's always just knocking out the song. You're like, where'd that come from?
Yeah. So,
absolutely brilliant.
So, you know, it was it was you know, different again, but amazing.
It's lovely for us because like all three bands you've been in, we're fans of them all, and that's you know. I know there were other bands, but I didn't know of those bands. But the three highlights for me personally, and I know with Shane, at some point in our musical journey, it's as Bruce said, they almost inspire, and then they get another band to kind of move on and create another story, and then inspire someone else. And that's what it's done, and it's been beautiful. Is there?
Right.
We've heard of Two Little Angels, obviously, that there is talk of a reunion. And
they're always talking about a reunion.
So it'll be my turn when Shane did the last one. Toby kind of broke it exclusively. Shane confirmed it with Bruce, as you've just said. Then, well, there's always talk of a reunion, which is brilliant. I'll be cheeky and do a double one. Is there plans for Skunk Anansie obviously moving forward as well? You had tours. There's a lot of people putting up that they had tours and stuff. So, you know, is that the plan? Like, obviously, when we get to the new normal, Skunk Anansie and maybe a Little Angels reunion.
Well, definitely, we'll be doing the Skunk tour that we were postponed from last winter. October, November, December just gone. Obviously, that was moved to the summer. Then it's now going to be 2022 for obvious reasons. So that you know, and there'll be more music, and there'll be new music, and we'll just keep going. I think, you know, in terms of Skunk, but and that's the right thing. You know, we didn't look after it the first time, and now we do. You know, we don't tour as intensively, and we take a lot more time to do things that we want to do and that we enjoy doing. And, you know, we sort of worked hard to get the band to a place where we could afford to do that. So it's not about, you know, being the biggest band in the world anymore as like it is when you first start, you know, and you get in that van, you go, right, we're going to conquer the world. You know, it's a different thing, but, you know, I was 50 last year, so of course it's going to be different, you know. What was the question? See, that's a 50-year-old brain, that is.
And Little Angels, you'll be looking forward to meeting up.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So and in terms of reunion. I'll get my Zimmer frame out in a minute. Yeah, God, I've always loved to play with those guys. You know, Bruce is one of my favourite guitarists. You know, it's like a family thing. You know, and I've had three families now, three musical families, and all different dynamics, different personalities, but all still family. You know. Because you go through so much together. So of course, I'm recording a track for Toby in a couple of weeks. Something that he's doing for a game, I think, which is lovely. You know, just for him to be able to call me up and go, you know, do you want to play some drums for me? I'm like, yeah, I'll always do that because they'll always be my brothers and sister. You know, and that'll never change. So I'd love to do some more Little Angel stuff. I'd love to do more FEEDER stuff. You know, that's probably more problematic, probably more difficult because they got, you know, Jeff, who's amazing and such a lovely guy. But I wouldn't say no to that either. You know, I'd say no to a lot of other stuff. But my three families, my three music families, I'll always have time for them.
Incredible. Well, Mark, I can't thank you enough for your time tonight, buddy. It's been incredible listening to your story. What a life you've lived. What a life you live in. Thank you so much for your honesty, bro, because, you know, really amazing. I can see how many people have respected your life, dude. And thank you so much.
There's comments. Thank you so much for all the comments. It's been absolutely brilliant to see so many people engaging and just loving the bands and loving the chat and the music and all of that. So thanks for having me, guys. You know, good luck with your journey and what you're doing, because doing such a great job. So keep it up. I know it's hard work and doing all the, the other stuff, the beers but it'll pay off. It will. You just keep at it. It'll pay off.
Thank you so much, Mark. Take care, brother. We'll hopefully see you on the road.
Yeah, I hope so. Take it easy.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. Cheers, Mark.
All the best. Lots of love, guys. See you later.
You as well, man. Thank you, Mark. That was tremendous. Absolutely tremendous.
What a man.
Outstanding. If you would have seen in the links, but there people have been putting up Mark's podcast. I really hope that he pursues that. Because yet again, I mean, before we went into the band chat, I mean, probably the same as you, Shane. I could have just not even a time limit on it, to be honest. I can't wait to hook up with Mark. Because there was so much more that me and you could have probably talked about to him. And then you kind of no, but it's almost like a 3-parter, 4-parter, isn't it? Because it's like
100%, like volume 1, volume 2. Because I mean, we went in like straight off the bat, like we went into the deeper, sort of darker sort of things. And I was like, oh, this isn't kind of normally what we do. We do, build it up and what have you. But to go straight in and to captivate so many people in the Crow family and straight off the bat, when it was like, boom, this is what people need to hear. That it's okay to feel like that, and there's a light at the end of the time. I know all the cliche shit, but there's truth in it. You know what I mean? That man is living. What's the word I'm looking for? Proof that, he hit rock bottom and managed to find a way and still maintaining that love for music and intent. Incredible. Love, absolutely love that.
And that's 2 CrowCasts now where we've heard off Bruce and off Mark. And I tell you what, anybody attending Waterbear or the online lessons, I mean, Jesus Christ, we've talked about our kind of growing up in the music industry and how we love that mentoring, that meant a lot to us. And we still do now. I mean, Mark is someone I wouldn't have a problem picking up the phone to and saying, I'm having a rough day, or can you help me? Just advice. It's not always money or a lift up in the industry. It's almost just that kind of rain check on where you are and where you're heading. And Bruce, exactly the same, bro. Imagine having that to your disposal. That's wow.
Like I said, that's priceless, but that's money can't buy it. That is life experience. That's a mentoring. That is, there's no more words, but the incredible guest, incredible man, offering his love and support where he can. And the man's a rock star too. I mean, what a guy. Right, let's get the Crows in.
Let's get the Crows in. Let's see how the boys are. He's got Lloyd. There's Shiner. And then there's Dave. How are we doing, boys? All right?
What's happening? You all right?
Thanks. Not bad.
Dave, I could relate to a lot of what he was saying.
Yeah?
Fair play, yeah.
Powerful, wasn't it? It was just like...
Oh, wise, man. Wise words.
Honestly, one of my favourite episodes, I'll put that out there. That's not because it's a drummer or anything like that. It was just like...
Just what a nice guy, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What a nice guy.
Yep.
Hey, don't go ringing him after this episode. I'm doing a good job, all right, boys? Don't ring him, all right? Yeah. How you doing, Dave?
Yeah, good, man. Not too bad. Just enjoy my beer.
Oh, yeah. Top of the show that was, wasn't it? The reveal.
Sold out now. Sold out.
Yeah, sold out now.
Is this sold out?
Yeah, second batch coming soon.
50 grand now.
You can pre-order it on the same website. You can just pre-order it when the next batch is ready.
Wow.
Go first to the pack. A couple of people were commenting on the price of it. Craft beer is generally a bit more expensive. It's like a fine wine, so don't be surprised about the price.
Yeah, we went to a proper brewery. This isn't like some, rubbish. This is proper craft beer. Second in Wales. We went to a good place to get the best product possible. So I mean, that's why I think.
Yeah, the going rate for like craft beers is I went last week to pick up 4 cans and it cost me 22 quid. So that's the going rate. If you want the good stuff.
Oh, I've seen you come in late.
Yeah. That's it. If you could either have like 4 cans of nice beer or have 20 cans of shit beer. Like, do you know what I mean? That's where I look at it anyway.
Well, for everybody now that has bought it, next week we're hoping to do a live beer tasting, virtual beer. What are we calling it, boys?
virtual
taste
beer
tests.
tasting with Lee from Dogs Brewery, Dogs Window Brewery. We'll have Lee. No, because he can explain to us of the whole process, because we wouldn't want to do it a disjustice. He can explain the whole process of how it's made, a little bit about Lee as well, and it is supporting independent business as well, like, which is really important in this climate. We've kept it local, so we've done the best job we can all round. Even Lee has really.
Bloody brilliant.
Yeah,
Do you know anything about his waiting list, Dave?
And may I add, it's beautiful.
Say it again, Shane.
The waiting list for the beer.
Yeah, just order it. Just order it on the website like you would have. And I think it's a week. It'll be a week or two for the next batch.
There we go.
Yeah.
Bloody
Brilliant of it.
But get in there and pre-order them now because they'll go again.
With the interview with Mark, I'm now catching up. I can see what you mean. There's people going, I can't order it. Where do I order it?
Yeah, you missed all that, didn't you? Yeah, they all gone. That batch is gone.
First batch in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Second one
literally,
was copying.
it went, bro. It just went.
Wow, thank you very much, Crowfamily. That's amazing.
You
Absolutely.
know, boys, sod music, Operation Get the World absolutely pissed.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like it's wow.
Oh, it is a really, really nice beer. And not being biased, it is a nice, nice on the palate.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
like me and you love our ales, don't we, Dave? It is nice.
Good quality.
It is nice.
New England
Bloody brilliant.
ale. So
Right, let's quickly do some birthdays, boys. We're going to start off with Mike Jones. Hey, boys, can you wish my happy 18th birthday tomorrow on the 3rd of Feb for my son, Ben Jones. His first gig was Green Day when he was 6 years old. Loads since. Before lockdown, the Crows at KK's last Feb. That was his last one. And seen you twice at Download and then Steelhouse. Mike then goes on to say he's gutted that he can't live every dad's dream of buying his son's first pint at a pub. Wow, I never thought of that.
oh yeah.
Oh,
You're just gonna have to share one from down the shop.
never mind. Buy him some Sandanipa.
Yes.
There you go. So happy birthday, Ben Jones.
Happy birthday.
18th. It's a big one.
It's a big one.
Shani, it's my mum's birthday on Wednesday. Could you do her a favor? It'll make her birthday. Her name is Nicola Richards. What's happening, Nicola? I know it's a big ask, so I don't mind if you can't, but it would be amazing. We watch you every week and have a great laugh. Thank you to you and the boys for entertaining us every Tuesday on this lockdown. Happy birthday, Nicola!
Happy birthday.
Annie Joyce, a.k.a. Annie Schwarzenegger. Could I put an early request in for a birthday shout next week, please? My eldest, Freya. Oh, she's 18 today. A big Crows fan and my usual barrier buddy. Happy birthday, Freya.
Happy birthday.
Janet Page. Hi, Shane. Loving the CrowCast every week. So nice to see and hear everyone experiences. It's amazing. It's also keeping us sane, missing our gigs, but this is the next best thing. Can I ask you to do a heavenly birthday shout out for my son, Niall? He would have been 28th on the 6th of February. He passed away in 2011, 2 days before his 18th birthday as a result of an accident at work. He was a massive rock fan and played in a band. Still have his BC Rich Beast guitar here. Much appreciated. Love watching CrowCast, even though I have to get up really early as I'm a nurse. Hope everyone is keeping well. Love to the Crow family. Janet, our love and thoughts are with you. Happy birthday to your son, Niall. Happy birthday, bud.
Happy
Birthday, man.
Rachel Gilchrist, hello. Can you please wish my husband, Ian Gilchrist, a happy birthday on Tuesday this week? That's today. Happy birthday. Hang on. His birthday is Monday, the 1st of February. Right. Thank you so much. Sorry about that. Happy birthday, Ian.
Happy birthday.
It's either Monday or Tuesday. Ewan Allen. Hey, Shane, it was my mum's birthday yesterday. Just wondering if you could give a birthday shout out on CrowCast from all the Crows. Don't think she's missed one since it started. The movie stars also say happy birthday, Liz. Happy birthday, Liz.
Happy
Birthday, Liz.
Happy birthday, Liz.
We got 3 more. Pam Davey, hello Crows. Would you kindly give a birthday shout out to my twin sister Babs? It's her birthday tomorrow. She's in Lincolnshire. I have never gone this long being apart from her before. I am aware that it's the same for us all, but please give my love to her and to you, the rest of the boys. Happy birthday, Pam and Babs.
Happy birthday.
Guys.
These sound like they should have their own show. Pam and Babs.
Babs,
Yeah.
yes, isn't it?
Kerry got in touch. Could I possibly ask for a birthday wish for my sister-in-law, gig buddy, and deserved future recipient of a medal for tolerating my brother, Leslie Lyron? There they are. It's her birthday tomorrow, and our 2 families have been unable to meet up since 2019 due to life and COVID, and I miss them so much. I thought a shout out from the last band we saw together, a Crazy Cowboy 4, would be awesome. Thank you, Crows. Happy birthday, Leslie.
Happy birthday.
Hey.
Last one, Rich Townend. Oh, we've had Liz, but there's another one. Just sending a birthday request for Liz. It's her 50th birthday today. We both work from home, and she played your music all day long in her office. She's become a bigger Crow fan than me. Happy birthday again, Liz.
Happy birthday.
Birthday, Liz.
And that's all the birthdays.
Smashing. Absolutely smashing. What about if we segue into this? This is going to be new.
What's the next lyric? It's lyric time. What's the next line? What's the next line? What's the next line?
Ooh, that was different. Oh, swanky. I love that.
Ta-da.
Ta-da.
Oh.
And there's our new song, everyone.
There we go.
Oh, that was the big announcement.
Budget big time, that's right, yeah. So this week, the lyric is this: a life with no intent. A life with no intent. What's the next line? Go.
Ooh, interesting. Interesting.
What's that?
What's going on in the chat room?
They're just saying that was incredible. the new music. All posh.
Entering the competition, they're
Yeah, everyone's still in awe of the theme tune.
Yeah, no, maybe Shane, you should hit them again with what's the next line.
Yeah, so the line is a life with no intent. What's the line that follows? A life with no intent.
Go. Someone's put rent.
Kent. Good, careful how you say that.
Yeah. Someone, James Goldsmith, said that's
made Stone Kent like.
no clue, by the way.
Yeah, everyone's really struggling. Well, I'll tell you why you're struggling.
Because the winner is.
Because it's a brand new song. The Crows have got a brand new song. We cannot wait for you to hear it. This is a new song called Sick of Me. So you can stop trying looking at lyrics on the internet for our songs because I ain't on them. But we got this, Ronnie, haven't we?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Should we show him something?
Let's show him something.
Oh, that's right. The beautiful guys at Download Festival will be playing our brand new song and video. Not just the song, our brand new video. On Thursday at 12. Is that right, boys? At noon? Noon?
I can't remember.
I think so. 12 noon. You're right, Ron.
PM, that is correct, isn't it? I've been hanging out with my dad, so I'm losing my PMs and my AMs. 12 p.m. That's right, guys. The lovely guys at Download will be exclusively playing our brand new single and brand new video, Sick of Me. And that'll be on all their socials. So if you head over to the Download socials on Thursday at 12 o'clock, you'll be able to see and hear our brand new song.
Sick of Me.
Sick of Me. That is correct. And while that is there, I'll give him a little flash of this. Oh, look at that. Ooh. Look at that. And that's not it, is it?
Shane, move to your right. Or your left.
That is not it, is it? That's not all the news. Is that correct?
No, it's not. Because this brand new song is going to be on a brand new Ultimate Edition version of Point of No Return. Check that out. And that's not all. The reason why it's an Ultimate Edition, we've listened to you guys, how you, every time we do like an acoustic set or stuff, you guys say, oh, you should do an album, acoustic stuff. Well, we've kind of answered that by adding 4 songs, acoustic songs, as well as the brand new songs. That's 5 new songs in total to make this Ultimate Edition.
Yeah.
Excited.
So an acoustic EP tagged onto the end as well.
So yeah, just to recap that, because that was a lot going on. So Sick of Me, that will be shown and you can hear it on Download socials from Thursday at 12 o'clock. And then noon. And then Friday, there's the new Ultimate Edition of Point of No Return, which will be available. And like Shane said, we have been busy, boys. We've been trying not to spoil it. We wanted to give you all surprises. So there will be an acoustic EP attached to the existing Point of No Return with Sick of Me added to that as well. So you put all that in the pot and you get Those Damn Crows Point of No Return Ultimate Edition out on Friday worldwide.
That's right. And you can pre-save that link right now on Spotify, I believe. Is that true? Have I just made that up?
That is absolutely correct. If you look on the bottom of the screen and if you check in the chat rooms right now, you'll see that there'll be a pre-save. So you can pre-save that. If you look at the link, there you go. And it's hitting the chat rooms as we speak.
Yeah.
So you'll see that there's a pre-save link. So that'll be dropping on Friday, guys. This will be digitally at the moment, due to COVID. Obviously, you know, we've done our best. This is, you know, we've got the re-edition of the album. There's an acoustic EP attached to the end, and a brand new song, "Sick of Me" as well.
Yeah, and I gotta stress, guys, these acoustic songs, I think you're gonna fall in love with the songs again. They're not just like they're different versions. There's a feel about them, and they're pretty special. I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they are, man. They are.
So get over to that link now and get them pre-saved.
Yes.
And that smart URL.
That is correct. And I'll give you another creak by this. So this is all out Friday, and you can see it on Download at 12 noon Thursday. The good thing is Mark left just before we did all the preview and stuff. I was hoping he'd see that. I'm like, oh, that's a badass track. And it's like, do you know what I mean? So yeah, we'll be able to talk to you more next week's CrowCast. It's going to be a Point of No Return special. A lot of you have been putting our anniversary up on the socials, noting that it's coming up to a year, which is incredible. That's so weird. It doesn't feel like a year. Wow. So next week's show it's all designed around that. We're going to be talking about the record. Hopefully you'll all be able to take in the new tracks that you would hear on Friday. And obviously Sick of Me as well. We want to hear your reactions about that. Post it everywhere. Let everybody know about it. Yeah. Great, boys, isn't it? It's been an interesting couple of months getting all this over the line.
Yeah.
It's been really hard, man. It's been really hard to keep it quiet as well. Do you know what I mean? To keep it tight. But it's so exciting for us, especially the times we're living in. It's just nice to just get something new out there again, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it really is. Ronnie's right. Like, considering it's been a year since Point of No Return, the album, it didn't do what it should have. We've all said it, haven't we? Because we couldn't get it in Giggy. So to give it another sort of spin in this Ultimate Edition, give the fans what they want with the acoustic EP attached to it, a brand new track, a brand new look. It feels good, man. It feels good that we're doing something again with music.
It does.
I'm buzzed about it.
Definitely. I mean, it's been a jam-packed episode so far. We opened up with a lovely
which
cheers. It's an absolutely brilliant time in the camp at the moment. The hard work is paying off. Cheers, boys. Can't believe it's sold out straight away. That's completely blown my mind. Like, do you know what I mean?
I'm selling my can I am for £100 if anybody wants it.
Be wrong now.
£100.
Yeah, so Send a Nipa is out. Even though it's sold out, which we didn't expect so quick, you can order. We will be making up more, so that's phenomenal. And obviously, we wanted to bring you the amazing news that a brand new song will be dropping this week. We have been busy behind the scenes.
Yeah,
we have been doing as much as we physically can. And Sick of Me, I've got to bring that artwork up again. Fantastic. Sick of Me will be out. You will be able to listen to that
on all digital providers, isn't it?
Yes,
yeah, not just Spotify.
Well said.
Yeah, well said, Lloyd.
Yeah, because someone just said in the comments that I haven't got Spotify. It's on all digital providers, so you will not miss it, and you shouldn't, because it's a banger. It's an absolute banger. And someone's just put in the comments there. So what's the next line? That's a good point. The line was, "A life with no intent isn't a life at all. A line with no intent isn't a life at all. Isn't a life at all." Yeah. There we go.
I can't wait for everyone to hear him, man.
Yes.
I really can't wait. It's so exciting. It's like this time every February we seem to release something. Like, it's great.
Yeah, it is great. It is great. And talking about great and eventful, let's bring this.
In 2021, a Crow Commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security stockade to the Bridge End Underground. Today, still wanted by the government, they survived as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, if you can find them, maybe you can hire the C-Team.
Right then.
I'd forgotten all about it. I was so up here, excited about all the new stuff. I thought, oh no, we got to do this.
Yeah, there's still a little bit of intensity. And for those of you who are watching, we have got Crow Radio coming up as well. So you'll be able to see what we chose for this week's playlist. Dave will run you through that. But for now, for anybody who watched last week, Shiner fell short. So he had to do a crow pose. Now, do I show Shiner or do I show some of the fans how to go first as well? So I would like to show their attempts. But what would you like to see first, boys?
Well, let's see the fans first. Go on.
Yeah, you got to leave the best last.
Come on.
So, exactly that.
Family, they didn't want to see Shiner on their own. Everybody's had a go of it. Spoke to Annie. Only thought that it was right to upload a few videos just to show everybody doing the crow pose. The first one. Ease up. Ease up. Ease
Oh,
up.
that's good technique, that is.
Oh, well done.
Dude.
That.
And his conservatory's the same colour as Mirror and the Motive, look. Yes.
10. 10 out of 10.
Okay, here goes the boss. Don't smack your face.
Don't smack your face.
Yay!
Excellent.
Get in there. Get in there.
That's how you do it.
And
I got to be honest, I did have a go at this.
Oh.
It is fucking hard.
Love it too.
My fucking wrists are killing.
Yeah.
I done it. I did
We
do
got
it.
one more from the fans. Let's have a look.
Just want to smack my face on the floor.
Oh.
I love how his flooring is all soft flooring just in case he does fall.
Yeah.
It's like that. Remember that floor they used to have in children's parks? That rubber sort of sponginess to.
Yes. Yeah. The soft area.
Yeah, we need that, but.
So, without further ado, shall we have a look at Shiner's attempt at the crow pose?
Complete.
I can smash that one, boys, to be honest.
I love the technique. Soft flooring again, Lloyd. Just to make
Yeah. Look after the old knees, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and a perfect balance for his tray to sit on. And obviously, you don't want to get the tea to spill, like, do you know what I mean? So I absolutely love that. That was precision, like, you know. And found is how he brought it up in unison, the fag and the balance of that, and the holding it.
It's the way he signed it off. Just complete.
Yeah.
You cannot rush art, people. Complete.
I tell you what, boys, in all fairness, right, the guys who've done it, hats off to them. Because I did try it. And no, couldn't even get close to it. So,
I
well
was,
done,
I
people.
was congratulating you earlier, Shane, saying, "Oh, good on you for giving it a go." I take it back.
Yeah, I did give it a go.
I genuinely think Shiner is quite innovative, but
Yeah,
I should have thought that.
exactly, Dave. You've got to think outside the box.
No, you decided to do it on the landing with your dog.
Well, yeah. To be fair, I spent half of the time stroking my dog, so good work, Shane.
Look at Ann Walter's comment. Ann Walter.
Walters.
What the fuck was that?
Dan, I love that.
You're brilliant.
Point. So yeah, that was Shiner's attempt. Absolutely brilliant. And this is the part that I'm not looking forward to.
Let's have it. Is it?
Crows left. There's only 3 crows left on the board. So firstly, let's see the horrible task that Annie have sent out for us. Let's spin our wheel, Shane.
Okie doke.
Hey!
Hey!
Oh,
Oh no!
Oh,
no!
come on, let's have it. Quick.
Oh,
Hit remove, quick.
Oh my god, boys, this is the one.
Is this the nasty one?
Oh no, this is the one.
yeah, that's why I kind of delayed then.
No.
Oh, dude, this is it, isn't it?
This is awful.
This is mirth, isn't it? Oh no.
Hang on, I think my signal's going. My internet's gone a minute.
Yeah. I'm
So the
struggling.
wheel's gone down by sir.
Right, so that was, what was that one, Shane?
Crow Hero.
Oh,
Crow 15 was it?
Yeah, Crowfit Hero. Oh no. I know
yeah.
exactly what this entails, but
This is mirth, isn't it? I'm trying to
Yeah.
the yeah. Oh god. Okay, let's go over to Annie.
Annie Schwarzenegger.
and see what we have to do. This
Get to the chat.
Hi Crows, this challenge, first of all, I'm really sorry whoever's got this one. This is a CrossFit hero workout and it's called Murph. And it's a mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats and a mile run. Now, I'm not going to make you do the pull-ups. We're going to put sit-ups in there instead. Push-ups you can do from your knees if you have to. This is not easy. The hero workouts are done in honour of fallen military or first responders. They're designed to be really, really hard. So you can split this bit up. You don't have to do this in 100, 200, 300. You could split it into 3, 6, 9 and do 33 rounds of that. And you can take as long as you like to do it. But it's going to be tough. Good luck.
Let's fucking have it. Come on.
Come on, bro.
Come on, bro.
Yoga, anyone?
Oh, Shane's gone.
If I'm not here, no one can press the wheel.
Okay, so I'm gonna put in the wheel.
Can we put money on this first?
Oh my god.
That is hard. I used to do CrossFit a long time ago. That is not easy. You didn't like CrossFit too much, did you, Lloyd? It's not
Oh, but I came and I conquered and I only done it once.
oh, it's not. That's not great. That's not fun. Oh, go on, Shane. Get out the way. Oh,
Please, 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 please. Keep going! No!
yes! Oh, so good. So good. Oh, you know what? There was a part there where it glitched and it looked like it was going to land on my name. I thought that was it. That was history. Oh, my God.
Shane, you can come pick up Indy if you want. She'll sort you out.
Oh, wow. So, Shane.
Pain is temporary, bro.
Oh, dude, we are looking forward to your video for next week's episode. I can't wait to see how you get on.
For next week, we'll do all that.
Let's have a look what Shane has to do this week and video it for you guys to see on next week's episode of CrowCast. Over to you, Annie.
Hi Crows, this challenge, first of all, I'm really sorry whoever.
Yeah, whatever, Annie.
This is a CrossFit hero workout.
And it's
called Murph. And it's
100 pull-ups,
200 push-ups,
200 push-ups,
300 air squats,
and a mile run.
Now,
I'm not going to make you do the pull-ups.
We're going to put
sit-ups in there instead.
Push-ups you can do
Push-ups you can do from your knees if you have to.
This is not easy.
The hero workouts are done in honour of fallen military or first responders. They're designed to be really, really hard. So you can split this bit up.
You don't have to
do this in 100, 200, 300. You can split it into 3, 6, 9 and do 33 rounds of that.
And you can take
as long as you like to do it. But it's going to be tough. Good luck.
Just 33 rounds, Shane. Just look at it that way.
You'll be at it all week.
Yeah, just 33 rounds. You don't have to do it all in one.
25. You can do 25 each.
Yeah, you don't have to do it all in one. 33 rounds.
I tell you what, Shane, give me a bell in the morning, but I'll get it out of the way.
That's like the equivalent of 10 fags, isn't it, Shane?
Yeah. I'll get it out of the way.
I'm devastated. I got no words.
To be fair, she's pulled the pull-ups at her there.
The guy who just about did yoga on his landing.
Yeah.
Yeah, soccer
Someone just said there, Shane's pull a sickie. Yeah, I might have to pull a sickie.
I really want to do that, though. I want to try it.
Do you? I just swap.
Nah, fuck off.
Yeah, I genuinely don't.
No, I genuinely would like to try that.
Well, I ran the other day, right? I only done a mile, boys. I was spewing. So that's without all the 100 pull-ups or whatever they are. Anyway, let's move on. I will do it because I'm like that.
Get a stunt double.
I tell you what, Shane. Because I love you, I'll do it with you.
No, I'd rather not. But you make me even more embarrassed. You fly it,
And also, he can track what you're doing, Shane.
Yeah, exactly.
You get away with it otherwise.
But if it's hard, just split it up 33 rounds. That sounds much easier, doesn't it? Just 33 rounds.
33.
Saying to Shiner throughout the week, I really hope I get the hardest one. Like, I really hope I get. I just want to. You only want to challenge yourself.
Yes.
No.
So I really hope I get it. Now it's either stand on your fucking head or some other one.
Yeah. I just missed this, so let's pop back and visit.
The best music all day long. Crow Radio. Available now via Those Damn Crows Spotify page. Don't forget to click the green heart.
Available now.
It's all going down.
I love it. Available now.
It's all going down. So Crow Radio, Dave.
Yes. So this week it is drummers, the influence drummers, and it's not necessarily the best drums. It's like the groove. It's just cool drummers, good bits, just drummers, influenced by Mark. So we start with We Will Rock You, Queen, Painkiller, Judas Priest, Won't Get Fooled Again, The Who, The Spirit of Rage, Rush, Hollywood Nights, Bob Seger, Hocus Pocus, Focus, Caprillion Crest, Bastardon, Elevate, The Winery Dogs, When the Levee Breaks, Led Zeppelin, In the Air Tonight, Phil Collins, Message in a Bottle, The Police, Dance with the Devil, Cozy Powell, One, Metallica, Could You Be Mine, Guns N' Roses, Digital Bath, Deftones, Replica, Fear Factory, No Excuses, Alice in Chains, Thunderstruck, AC/DC, These Days, Foo Fighters, Charlie, Big Potato, Skunk Anansie, Walk, Pantera, Once, Pearl Jam, Rain in Blood, Slayer, The Chain, Fleetwood Mac, Burnout, Green Day, War Pigs, Black Sabbath, Sunshine of Your Love, Cream, Where Eagles Dare, Iron Maiden, Billie Jean, Michael Jackson, and Soul Sacrifice, Santana.
There you are. You're out the breath just doing that. Imagine you now on Crow.
That is an amazing playlist. That's a hell of a playlist.
It is.
That's
and
amazing.
It's all if we think there's good drum bits in it, or like we're fans of the drummers or anything like that. Good grooves.
Grooves, man. Pockets, grooves.
Yeah, just drumming influence. That's all. So.
Yeah, it's all about that vibe of, like we were talking about this in our group and stuff. It's not just about, great drummers, which there are so many in there, arguably all of them. But it's also moments within a song where you don't have to be a drummer. You could be there on a dance floor or whatever, and there's that In the Air Tonight moment, or there's that Rosanna, you know what I mean? And you just follow the drums round as you do. Probably
the Hawaii 5-0 moment, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that's my favorite one. I think growing up, watching like middle-aged men when I was a youngster doing the Hawaii 5-0 completely wrong. Or I love watching people hitting completely the wrong drums, the A drums, and I'm like, no, you just completely changed the dynamic. But it is what makes those songs, like a guitar lick, like Sweet Child of Mine or something like that off the top of my head. So yeah, I think that's what makes the rhythm section special,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hell of a playlist that.
It's amazing.
And where's that available, Dave?
It is available on our Spotify page. Click the green heart and share it with all your mates.
Available now.
Available now.
I love that.
I
absolutely love it.
That's because
the best music all day long. Crow Radio. Available now via Those Damn Crows Spotify page. Don't forget to click the green heart.
Fabulous.
Brilliant.
And now it's time for this.
It's Dave, did you know? Fucking hell. Simple. Scooby-Doo.
Fucking hell.
I'm gonna have to up my skit game and my music game. There is.
Or your harmonies, you mean?
Yeah. So this week, a grizzly bear's bite is so strong it could bite through a bowling ball.
See that one?
True. That's true,
A
Alice.
grizzly bear can bite through a bowling ball.
Wow.
I know.
Remember Jawbreakers?
The aniseed ones, like.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh no, man! I spent the entire comprehensive years going down the shop at dinner time getting them. You know, like, well, what are you eating, Lloyd? Nothing.
But a bowling ball, though.
Yeah, no, I reckon a grizzly bear could do that.
Bowling balls.
That's incredible. That's incredible. That's a good fact, that is, actually.
Don't fuck with nature, people.
I've always wanted to see a bear, but in the wild. Not
I have, dude. I have. When I went to Canada, it's a beautiful thing in the Rocky Mountains, and you see them like from a distance in the forestry. You hear the packs of wolves howling at night. It's incredible. It is incredible.
I was chatting to a mate. He always goes out to the States. Well, he used to, which just especially like once, twice a year. I always used to love hearing about his adventures, and he always used to say the same thing. He wanted one of those moments where he kind of just drove on one of those roads, because he always used to do like East Coast, and he'd go up Canada.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he always wanted that moment where he just came across a bear, but naturally, organically, no like going to feed him, because certain parts he pull up and he tells certain people, locals, oh, you know, is there bears around? And they'd be like, yeah, man, if you go over to the cliff edge there and you can feed them. And he'd be like, no, I don't want to do that, because they're wild, but they've almost become a bit more tame. They know that people will feed them. He always wanted that moment of he's just driving along and he goes, oh shit, a bear. You know what I mean? It's that. Yeah, so it's that moment in it. You look out in your back garden or you hire a hut, and you think it's funny to tell his story, but when you're in that moment, you probably obviously shit your pants, you know.
I remember we were in Banff and driving through the street, like the actual town, and you just see like all the deers and just all the wildlife. Yeah, they're obviously used to like the human contact, but it's just so nice to see. Do you know what I mean? It's so nice. Nature at its finest, man.
Sorry, I'm just reading Future History's comment there.
It was a beautiful story, Lloyd. It was a beautiful story.
Annie said, how did they know that a bear can do that? I think what they did was they shoved little cocktail sausages in each of the holes and fed it to the bear. And it just bit it through it.
What, specifically cocktail sausages?
Well, whatever sausage you can fit in the little holes, isn't it? Well, let's not get into that.
No, let's get into it. It's really good.
Big holes, you've got the different numbers, isn't you? If you've got the big ones, you can grab a big sausage in there, jam it in like that.
No, Liz Allen.
Put little sausages in.
I prefer Liz Allen's answer, really. That sounds more honest, Dave, than little chipolatas in a bowling ball.
Hey, look, science, mate. You can't argue with it, right?
All right, mate.
Can't argue with it. So if we have a little recap, then boys, the beer has sold out. This is where I was going to say, don't forget you can buy the beer. But
pre-order for the next batch.
Buy a last can of China.
Oh yeah, still going. It's gone up now to 120 quid.
There we go. China's put the price up.
No,
that's that.
You can just pre-order for the next batch. It'll be a week or two. But just
it
pre-order
has
if you want some.
Been a jam-packed show, and as Dave just said, you can order obviously the second batch now, because everybody got straight out the starter block and got it in. Next week we are going to be doing a virtual tasting session with Lee, so he can talk us through. Again, massive shout out to Dog's Window Brewery. They will talk us through the process of how we came up with the beer, which I'm drinking right now, and it's gorgeous. And for anybody thinking, oh, it's just drinking the same thing, I'm actually on my second can, because it's that nice. Well, no, it goes back to what me and you were talking about, Shane, about, I don't like those kind of ales. And I don't want somebody messaging going, "Oh, you've changed your tune. No, you've got a beer out." It's like, no, we've actually crafted one that we like. So it kind of suited all of us in the band, didn't it? You know, so.
Well, there we are. There's the stats, boys.
We went more roses than daffodils.
Say again, Shane.
We've done over 300 cans.
There we are.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So we're on our third batch.
Oh, we're on our third batch.
Yeah.
Love it.
How many batches we got?
Yeah, what else was the news as well, Shane?
Well, obviously, we got a brand new song coming out, and the lovely guys at Download are going to feature it on Thursday, 12 o'clock. Tune in to listen and see the new video of Sick of Me, bang a new tune. We're going to talk about it Lost next week, but that's also going to be on our brand new Ultimate Edition version of Point of No Return. It'll be on the album along with another 4 tracks, acoustic sort of versions, but they've been stripped back and they've got a new life of their own. So 5 brand new songs on the Ultimate Edition Point of No Return, and you can head over to Spotify now with the smart UTL and pre-order URL, sorry, and pre-order that now. Whew. It's all happening.
It's all happening. Stay in touch with us on our socials as well. We'll be posting loads of what's happening.
Ladies and gentlemen, one-liner, shiner.
So Superman sent me this line. You ready for this one? If you want to learn to fly, give up everything that weighs you down.
I love it.
Well done, Superman.
I love it. Well done, Shane.
Well done, Shane. Well done, Shiner boy.
Well, that's it, is it, boys? That's another jam-packed CrowCast with loads of information. Listen, the end of this week, new material, new songs, new album, new beer. So join us next week on CrowCast to talk about so much more. Talk about the new album, have a tasting session with you. It's loads. It's even more next week. So catch us next week, 9 o'clock on CrowCast.
Yeah.
Take care, guys.